A legendary mage drops a massive bombshell warning that a global catastrophe is incoming. He explains that in 5 years, the entire human race will be totally wiped out. The public is absolutely shook, because this guy's future sight ability has a 100% accuracy rate. But then a twist. The mage claims he caught a glimpse of hope. He points to the shadows, declaring that the 7 saviors standing there are the world's only chance. The crowd gasps as the hoods come off. We're talking humanity's strongest brawler, and the most brilliant tactical mind alive. Even the youngest S-class prodigy in history was part of this god-tier squad. The doomsday prophecy was a nightmare, but suddenly there was a lifeline. With this lineup of legends, the public went from panic to hype, and the world shifted instantly. And right there, between the fear and the glory, one guy's destiny is about to flip. Our main character watches the broadcast on a jumbo screen, and that is the exact moment his origin story kicks off. Cut to Tokyo, 5 years later. It is D-Day. A reporter is interviewing people on the street asking who they are betting on. Meanwhile, a humble trash collector is grinding away, totally ignoring the fan frenzy. The protagonist Ikuta Kuki thinks it's weird they call this the end of the world. The vibe feels more like a festival than an apocalypse. Suddenly, the screen flashes a girl's face and he instantly clocks her as Miki Murai. The footage shows her tearing it up in battle, hailed as the ace of the 7 saviors. He remembers she was drafted to be the direct subordinate of number 7, a super elite rank. Flashback to a library, where a younger Kuki is buried under a mountain of books. 2 girls start roasting him, saying his grind is pointless because he has 0 magic potential. That is when Miki stepped in, telling him to tune out the haters and that the library was closing. She flashed a smile and dropped some wisdom he could make it happen if he just never quit on his dream. Back in the now hyped up by seeing her on TV, he grabs a tossed-out spellbook from the gutter. He figures if he keeps pushing, maybe one day the magic will spark. Suddenly, the book actually starts glowing, but the moment gets ruined when 2 jerks pull up, calling him magicless trash and mocking his janitor job. They sneer at him, saying a garbage man has no business touching grimeries. Just waste space. One guy incinerates the book with a spell and beans Kuki in the head with a soda can, leaving him dazed. Suddenly, the sky turns pitch black, and massive red voids rip open exactly like the prophecy foretold. Nightmarish beasts and to tangent-sized skeletons start pouring out of the portals. It is the end times. But a holy light pierces the gloom, announcing the arrival of the 7 saviors. Humanity's ultimate defense force touches down, ready to rumble. Their leader stares down the horde, while the civilians scream for them to unleash hell. The people were full of adrenaline, begging them to save the planet from extinction. One hero oozing arrogance tells everyone to chill, bragging that he will wrap this up in a heartbeat. Another veteran savior yells that it is time to flex humanity's true power. Hero number 2 launches himself like a missile flying straight at the monsters. He fires a massive energy nuke, and the crowd loses their minds at the insane display of power. Everyone thinks the monsters are toast, but when the smoke clears, the creature is standing there completely unbothered, not even a scratch. The mood snaps instantly as people watch a hero's body hit the pavement. The camera cuts to 3 fangirls, cheering for hero number 2 still in party mode. But smash cut, they are drenched in blood, smiles still frozen on their faces. The girl's expression shifts to pure horror, her brain unable to process the carnage. We see the aftermath of a massacre. Multiple saviors are down, bleeding out on the asphalt. Through the smoke, we see even the leader and the strongest fighter got absolutely stomped. The protagonist is paralyzed, eyes wide, reality shattering. Is this actually happening? Weren't the 7 saviors supposed to be invincible? In the middle of this hellscape, he sprints through the burning city, screaming his sister's name. The young man freezes for a second, scanning the chaos with total panic. He spots his sister with number 7, but she says it is hopeless, they are bailing out. But as a monster closes in, the hero grabs her and asks what she is babbling about. Suddenly, he shoves the girl toward the beast, screaming that she is now the bait. 0 mercy. Number 7 literally kicks his own ally to serve as a sacrifice. Kuki watches in trauma, screaming his mind, rejecting what he just saw. He demands to know what the hero is doing. And this scumbag replies that he is one of the 7 saviors. The traitor claims he is way more valuable than some random woman, leaving her there to die in the dirt. His sister spots him and begs him to run as the abomination gets closer, but Kuki stands his ground, screaming at the monster to back off. Even as she bleeds, she thinks her brother is a legend. Even with death staring him in the face, this guy doesn't flinch. Our MC locks eyes with the beast, beating himself up for being born with 0 magic. He steps right into the kill zone, ready to sacrifice it all. With pure desperation in his eyes, he screams out a plea to the universe, just give him enough power to save his sister. Suddenly, a blazing sigil ignites on his palm. With this newfound strength, he catches the monster's massive claw midair, stopping the fatal blow cold. His sister collapses, watching the scene unfold in total disbelief. Cookie is just as shook, staring at his glowing hand like, what just happened? A voice echoes in his head, the magic is his now, and the truth is about to drop. An overwhelming surge of energy floods his system, and he realizes the monsters are frozen in place. It turns out his sister swiped a grimoire from the ministry to cast this spell. A blinding flash of light erupts from the book, and time itself starts spooling backward. The world rewinds 5 years, snapping back to the exact date the apocalypse prophecy was dropped. We cut to his younger self standing in the crowd. Hearing the announcement that humanity is doomed, the shock hits him. It clicks. He just hit the reset button. Around him, the oblivious crowd is cheering, hyping up the very news that spells their doom. Cookie hits the pavement, mind completely fried, trying to process this insanity. He whips out his phone. The date on the screen confirms it. It's 5 years ago. He's stunned, realizing he's literally living in the past. Some random guy walks by, asking his buddy if he caught the news about the end of the world. The friend's skeptical, but the guy insists it came straight from the great mage, so it's gotta be legit. Someone asks if this means the 7 saviors are finally mobilizing. Right on cue. Giant screens across the city light up with the hero roster, and the mob goes absolutely feral. First up is Sagai Tetsu, hailed as humanity's strongest warrior. Then there's Juman Saijiro, the tycoon, pulling the world's strings with his cash. Third is Igawa Himika, the terrifying queen ruling the criminal underground. The fourth savior is Kyogi Rampo, a literal mana monster with infinite reserves. Fifth is Ashia Kei, the 5-head strategist who knows everything. Sixth is the prodigy Suzaki Irori, the youngest mage in history to reach that level. And finally, Araki Leo, the guy with the looks, the cash and the talent, the total package. A dude in the crowd starts vibing, screaming that the hype is real. Everyone is partying, 100% convinced these heroes will save them. But Cookie stares at the screen with dead eyes. He's the only one who knows the dark truth. Flashbacks of the burning future flood his mind, the despair, the ruin. Suddenly, his pocket buzzes, snapping him back to reality. It's his mom. He picks up panicked, only to hear that Miki just collapsed out of nowhere. His heart stops. The scene smash cuts to the massive city hospital. Cookie sprints through the entrance, bursting into the hospital room, shouting his sister's name. His mom is already there, looking terrified. Miki is out cold on the bed. His mom says the doctors ran every test, but everything came back clear. The medics are baffled, but Cookie realizes this didn't happen in the original timeline. He remembers the spellbook, realizing the magic is taking a toll on her. He needs answers, so he bolts to the school library, his old sanctuary. He hunts down an ancient text he read years ago and yanks it off the shelf. Flipping through it, he confirms his sister used forbidden arts on him. But of course, the crucial page is ripped out. Meanwhile, 2 classmates, Washita and Kusano, are yapping about their dreams of being saviors. Washita says he wants to be the top mage, just like number 1, purely to get girls. Kusano shuts him down, pointing out that in the popularity polls, number 7 is crushing it with millions of stands. We see montage shots of the 7 saviors being treated like idols, with merch and everything. Our MC remembers how blindly everyone trusted these guys back then. But the reality, they were absolute frauds, useless. If he doesn't step up, humanity is going to get wiped again. He refuses to let his sister's sacrifice be for nothing. He's rewriting the script. But right then, the 2 school bullies track him down in the stacks. Washita struts over with that arrogant smirk, calling Cookie a magic nerd loser. He swipes the book right out of our MC's hands, asking if he's fantasizing about power again. Kusano joins the roast, reminding him he's a manaless failure. With a cruel glint in their eyes, they glance at the open window, cooking up a nasty prank. Washita grins like a villain. He sneers, mocking the guy's obsession with magic, promising a little demonstration. A glowing crest flares to life on the bully's hand. Cookie instantly clocks it. He's powering up a skill. The bully screams, demanding Cookie hit the dirt and beg for mercy, just for the crime of breathing their air. But our MC doesn't flinch, weaving past the strike with 0 effort. That leaves Washita totally shook. He's freezing up, panicking over why his gravity crush isn't flattening this kid. He screams that Cookie should be eating pavement, unable to even stand. Watching the fail, Kusano gets triggered. He charges up his own thorn magic to end this. But Cookie dances around every shot, taunting them for moving in slow motion. He realizes scrub tier mana can't even scratch him now. His physical stats have leveled up big time. Then, it hits him. He's running on the mana inherited from his sister's time reversal spell. A sigil burns onto his hand, unlocking a memory she mentioned from the future timeline. The bullies are absolutely losing their minds, screaming, accusing Cookie of secretly awakening a new skill. But the MC tunes out the noise, hyper-focusing on the sensation. Grasping the weight of this game-breaking power, the goons spot a dropped grimoire and assume his ability is trash tier, writing it off as pure luck. But then a disembodied voice announces that the bully's skills have been successfully archived, leaving him totally confused. Suddenly, reality shatters into pixelated light blocks, warping him to a different dimension. A woman welcomes him to the library, revealing this pocket dimension is his actual ability. A mysterious figure steps forward, introducing herself as the skills librarian ruler of this infinite archive. She calls out to Cookie, who snaps his head up, mind completely blown by this surreal setup. He questions if this god-tier power really belongs to him, still struggling to process the upgrade. Scanning the room, he spots a glowing shelf but senses something off. It's practically empty, only 2 books sit there. Suddenly, the grimoires launch off the shelf, hovering right in his face. The librarian declares tutorial mode active, explaining that skills are just stories waiting to be read. Cookie grips the tomes, one glowing toxic green, the other blood red. The scene smashes back to Washita and Kusano, the 2 students who were just flexing their powers. Cookie clocks the color match, realizing these books are their ripped abilities. The librarian hypes them up as quality skills, confirming any power he witnesses gets backed up here. He is absolutely floored. She asks if he's ready to crack one open for a test run. Smiling effortlessly, she explains this whole zone is actually inside Cookie's own headspace. She drops a bomb, real-world time is paused so he can binge read without stress. Back in reality, everything is frozen solid, caught right in the middle of the bully's assault. She warns him the data is dense and might fry his brain. He ignores the red flags about the pain and grabs a book, instantly leaving the librarian pleasantly surprised. Cookie thinks he just found paradise, a place where he can grind unlimited skills. He's hyped at the thought of stacking these shelves full, maybe even becoming the most OP hunter alive. The librarian tries to mention a storage cap, but he's too amped to hear it. Sighing, the guy locks in, steeling himself to absorb the book's data. Moments later, the woman steps up, asking if the skill integration is complete. His eyes flash a brilliant blue as he confirms. He has fully mastered both powers. Snap back to reality, Cookie stares down the bullies, who are freaked out by his chill energy. They start sweating when their attacks stall out, screaming about why he's taking 0 damage. The MC notes that 0 time has passed. A blue aura ignites around his hand. The sigil of the copied skills burns on his palm, radiating raw power. With one gesture, he procs the gravity skill, launching the 2 attackers into the ceiling. With a cold glare, Cookie keeps it real, admitting he used to be insanely jealous of their gifts. He always knew he could run those builds way better than they ever could. Then he cranks the gravity dial to max, slamming them back toward the earth. The camera zooms in on Washita, who is screaming in terror as he nosedives into the concrete. To cap off the L, one of them literally wets himself. From the sheer panic of the drop, Cookie then announces it's time to test drive the second ability. His hand flares with emerald light. Before impact, thorny vines erupt, snaring them in mid-air suspension. Dangling there, they start trash-talking, Cookie screaming at him to quit acting like a boss. He just watches, soaking in the satisfaction of finally being the one to loot skills. With cold resolve, Cookie clenches his fist, claiming total ownership of this power. He triggers life drain, and the duo starts wailing in agony. Cookie notes that a kit this broken is completely wasted on trash mobs like them. He looks to the sky, shifting focus to the bigger picture. Staring at his hand, he thanks his sister, vowing to maximize the mana she gifted him. He swears to save the world and her, something the so-called saviors couldn't pull off. But right in the middle of his thought process, a hand lands on his shoulder, interrupting him with a sharp yo. Yo buddy, it's Araki Leo sliding into frame with a cocky grin, demanding to know who exactly he's labeling a false savior. Cookie freezes instantly, recognizing number 7, Araki Leo. He stammers, asking why a big shot is here, but Leo claims he just followed the noise. Then he drops the bomb, asking if Cookie is some kind of hater. He flips his phone around, revealing Cookie is broadcasting live to thousands on his stream. Araki shoves the camera in close voice, dropping low, daring him to apologize. But Cookie, he doesn't back down an inch, and doubles down, declaring he wasn't lying because they failed to protect the world. The screen flashes back to that nightmare. The image of Miki taking the hit meant for everyone else. Cookie accuses Leo of only causing pain. That wipes the smirk right off Araki's face. Replacing it with pure, unadulterated rage, Cookie snaps, screaming right in his grill that he's nothing but a fraud, not a real savior. They lock eyes, the air between them thick enough to cut. But then the protagonist feels a chill run down his spine as he senses the murderous aura radiating from the celebrity hero looming over him. Araki sneers, asking if he's looking for a beatdown, calling him trash. A golden energy erupts from Araki, triggering Cookie to instinctively activate his copy skill. The hero looks at him with pure disgust, annoyed by this weakling's audacity. Cookie is barely standing under the crushing weight of that pressure. Awed by the insane power gap of a savior, Araki raises a hand, charging up an attack to teach this kid a permanent lesson. Saved by the bell, 2 fangirls pop up out of nowhere, screaming Araki Leo's name. Their jaws drop instantly, switching to fangirl mode. Demanding to know why he's here, one even begging for a signature. The hero's eye twitches, clearly irritated by the ruined vibe. clicking his tongue and muttering about what a drag this is. He leans in, whispering that Kuki got lucky today, but there won't be a next time. Instantly, he flips the switch. His whole demeanor pulls a complete 180, turning to his fans with a dazzling camera-ready smile. Kuki exhales, realizing just how close he was to getting deleted. If they had fought, his copied magic wouldn't have stood a chance. But there's no time to breathe. He senses a massive spike of magic incoming. Suddenly, a roaring fireball grazes his cheek, sending him scrambling to the side in a panic. A girl shouts from down the hall, apologizing profusely for her aim practice, going south. She rushes over to check on him, and Kuki clocks her identity immediately. It's Miss Kanai, or rather, Kanai Momo, a special class prodigy with mono reserves that are off the charts. We get a quick lore drop. Certified mages are the elite drafted every 4 years for Black Ops missions. The selection exam is brutal with a pass rate lower than 1%. Cut to Momo and Kuki walking the halls, where she gives him props for handling those bullies, Washita and Kusano. She pauses, tapping her chin, recalling that Akuta was supposed to be magicless. He nods, confirming the rumors were true, but explains that something within him has finally awakened. Beaming, Momo admits watching him beat them felt satisfying since those guys were total jerks. Kuki starts thinking she's actually solid, and wonders if she might be the ally he needs. He decides to test the waters, asking her honest opinion on the 7 saviors. Momo's eyes light up. She calls them her idols, declaring her dream is to become the strongest mage, just like them. That shuts Kuki up fast, realizing telling her the dark truth would sound insane, but then she snaps her fingers, suggesting they go measure his new power levels. Kuki blinks surprised. He hadn't even considered getting an official reading on his abilities yet. Scene shifts to the special training room, a high-tech facility disguised as a standard gym. Stepping inside, Momo shows off the special class's pride and joy, the power measurement machine. She breaks it down. This rig lets you battle a virtual beast while it calculates your stats in real time. Kuki clenches his fist, mind racing, thinking if he secures that certified mage title, people might actually listen. He steals his resolve, wondering if this badge is the key to exposing the truth. But the vibe is killed when Momo jumps, startled by a teacher, who just materialized behind them. He scolds her, reminding them that restricted areas are for special class students only. That's when Kuki steps up, shouting a request to be transferred into the special advancement class. The teacher looks baffled, recalling, Akuta ranked dead last in every previous test. But the boy doubles down, declaring he's taking the certified mage exam in 1 month. Momo is all for it, hyping him up and begging the teacher to let them use the gear since she wants a turn too. Unable to say no to his star pupil, Kanai, the teacher sighs and approves it. The machine hums to life. Digital particles swirl, transporting them to a hyper-realistic virtual forest. From the observation deck, Momo asks for the difficulty setting, and the teacher sets it to rank E. A yellow blob-like monster spawns, and she explains that taking this thing down is how the score is tallied. Smiling with total confidence, Momo calls dibs on first turn and focuses mana into her palm. She unleashes a massive fireball, a direct hit that completely swallows the little flying beast. But when the smoke clears, the creature is barely scratched. Momo is stunned, but before she can react, the monster morphs into a towering giant. The hologram flickers, revealing a menacing rank A designation. Momo scoffs, convinced it's a glitch, but the teacher drops a bomb. The difficulty was cranked up to nightmare mode on purpose. Instead of panicking, Momo gets hyped. This is her main character moment to prove she's S-tier material. But the giant beast doesn't wait for her monologue. It initiates the battle phase immediately. It spits a barrage of blazing fireballs, turning the arena into an inferno. The teacher screams that this is insanity, warning that a rank A mob is way above their pay grade. The monster ignores the noise, charging like a freight train. It swipes Momo with devastating force, ragdolling her body and slamming her into the cold floor. Sprawled on the ground and coughing up blood, she screams for the teacher to pull the plug and trigger the emergency eject. But the teacher is smashing buttons in a panic, yelling back that the failsafe is bricked, the system isn't responding. Injured and cornered, Momo freezes as the beast roars, winding up for a finishing blow. That's when Cookie steps in with the cold logic of a gamer. To escape this glitch in the Matrix, they have to treat it like a dungeon raid, defeat the boss to unlock the exit. The behemoth lunges, claws extending to shred them into ribbons. Momo's pupils dilate in pure terror, realizing her reaction speed is too slow to dodge death. Suddenly, Cookie blurs into motion, shoving her aside just as the claws slash the empty air. He hovers above the ground, defying physics with his gravity skill, and checks if she's still breathing. Momo stares up, stunned by the brown crest glowing on his hand, a rare gravity manipulator. The monster resets its aggro, ready for round 2. Floating midair, Cookie drops a casual one-liner about just needing to kill the beast, leaving Momo absolutely floored by his audacity. The scene cuts to Cookie's inner mind palace, where the mysterious librarian is waiting. She smirks, offering to upload a new combat tutorial to help him maximize his kit against this opponent. The strategy is simple but broken dual-wielding skills, a technique called Magic Addition. Back in the fray, Momo screams that gravity alone is trash tier against a tank like this. Cookie just smirks, replying that he's got a full deck and reveals the other crests etched onto his skin, sending Momo into shock. He combines his gravity manipulation with vine magic, fusing them into a swirling, thorny whip of destruction. Our protagonist dashes straight at the beast eyes locked on the target. He unleashes the hybrid power, and the strike lands with critical force, making the giant creature screech in agony. Gritting his teeth, Cookie puts his entire body into the swing, yelling that class is in session. The thorny whip snaps forward at supersonic speed, coiling around the monster like a constrictor snake. The beast starts to glitch out, its body shattering into digital pixels as it fades from existence. Back in the real world, the simulation dissolves, and Cookie sighs, admitting that drained his stamina bar. Momo is paralyzed with shock, her brain unable to process that he one-shot a rank A monster. He blinks slowly, totally gassed but satisfied with the dub. Meanwhile, across the room, a suspicious student peeks through the door crack, expecting to see corpses. It turns out this guy hacked the simulation, convinced Cookie would get wiped by the boss he spawned. The hacker's jaw drops as the digital mist clears, realizing his assassination attempt failed. Suddenly, the professor rushes in, frantic and sweating, checking if they're still alive. Momo points a shaking finger at Ikuta, explaining he deleted the monster with a single attack. The result screen pops up. Momo's mana is decent, but Cookie's stats display a massive error message. The professor stares at the screen, completely baffled by the anomaly. Cookie ignores the confusion, turning his gaze to the door and confronting the student who tampered with the console. Momo snaps, flying into a rage. She grabs the hacker by his collar, screaming that his little prank almost got them killed. The boy stammers a denial, but Cookie steps up, pressuring him to fix the glitches. Terrified, the bully folds immediately when he spots the crest on Cookie's hand, realizing he's outmatched. With 0 options left, the student starts frantically typing on the console, trying to patch the mess he created. But while he works, Cookie's eye glows with an ominous light. He's copying the hacker's ability. Electronic hacking is successfully downloaded into his arsenal, adding a new book to his mental library. A satisfied grin spreads across the protagonist's face as he calculates the insane utility of this new skill. The professor finally steps in, gripping the hacker's shoulder, inviting him for a one-way trip to the principal's office. He drags the kid down the hallway, threatening expulsion if he finds evidence, but glances back at Cookie, sensing something doesn't add up about the weak student. Cookie plays it cool, scratching his head and acting like a clueless NPC to throw Momo off his scent. The scene transitions, and the text on the board reveals a countdown 30 days until the mage exam. The professor introduces Cookie to the elite special advancement class. The protagonist bows, dropping his name. Ikuta Cookie, with 0 nervousness. Whispers ripple through the room until a girl raises her hand, looking curious. She asks the ultimate fangirl question: which of the 7 saviors does he stan? Cookie freezes, the question hitting a nerve. The class babbles that everyone wants to be like the saviors, worshipping them like global celebrities. Cookie's expression darkens the mask, slipping as he recalls the twisted reality of those so-called heroes. He shuts the room down, stating cold and flat that he admires absolutely none of them. Then he drops a nuclear take that silences the class. If the world relies on the saviors, we're all doomed. He stares them down, declaring that relying on talented frauds is a recipe for the apocalypse. Cookie refuses to just sit on the sidelines. Momo is absolutely shook when he claims they can stop the apocalypse together. He pours his heart out, demanding everyone join the fight, swearing he's going to level up to God tier himself. Cookie vows to surpass every living soul to save a world on the brink, but a student in the back has their camera rolling and uploads the clip with a caption labeling Cookie a total psycho. The video instantly trends worldwide. Hashtags praising the 7 saviors flood the timeline, creating a massive social media frenzy. While the internet stands, the heroes, everyone from students to salarymen, treats Cookie's passionate speech like the newest meme. The algorithm works its magic, spreading the clip to the screens of heavy hitters like Juman Sajiro. Smash cut to the 7 saviors streaming the cringe compilation. The professor drops a bomb on the class. The big exam is in 1 month, so get your gear ready. Cookie's mere existence in the room has the rest of the class completely rattled. The professor paces the hallway deep in thought, because this kid had 0 mana just yesterday. Dialing up a report, he confirms the boy's mana is now off the charts, and that he's spewing some radical ideology. He mentions Cookie is spreading the narrative that the 7 saviors are useless against the coming apocalypse. On the other end, Juman Sajiro listens intently to the intel, and greenlights the kid to take the certification exam. Hanging up, he turns to a shadowy figure asking for a hot take on the situation. It's the undisputed G.O.A.T. Rank 1, Sagai Tetsu, observing everything with an air of pure superiority. Tetsu shuts his eyes with absolute disdain, proving he couldn't care less about the topic. He rises from his seat declaring he has zero interest in some random kid's philosophy. As he strides across the room, he leaves a trail of absolute zero, freezing the furniture instantly with his terrifying power. Jumon Sajiro, the eternal runner-up, just smiles, noting that Tetsu is cold as ice. Meanwhile, Kuki lets out a nervous breath. Kicking himself for running his mouth in class, he sits solo on a bench, realizing he spilled the tea even knowing it would burn him. Checking his feed, it's a nightmare. Rumors about him are already spinning out of control across the campus. Flashback to pre-regression, he used to fanboy over these heroes too. Now, he's just the campus creep. Suddenly whoosh, a fireball streaks past his face, a total jump scare. A voice cuts through the smoke, asking why the long face. It's Kanai Momo, beaming like sunshine, telling him to just call her Momo. She plops down next to him, hyped up, saying he's fascinating for getting buff and roasting the heroes. Momo gets real, admitting his words made her realize they need to level up their own game. She drops a hot take they don't even know if the world ending is fact or just hype. But Kuki shuts that down with a dead serious stare. It is definitely game over. He explains that for people to respect his warning, he needs that verified badge. He has to be a certified mage. Momo grins ear to ear, totally passing the vibe check and backing him up. With a fierce look, she tells him it's a do-or-die situation he has to pass. He smiles back, owing her one, and promises a ramen date. She instantly negotiates, make it 2 bowls. Hard cut to a massive medical center. Inside a sterile room, a girl named Miki Murai is hooked up to machines comatose. Kuki stands by her bedside, whispering the plan to his sister, promising to save her. His knuckles turn white as he clenches his fist. This is his one shot to bring her back. 1 month time skip. We are at the Ministry of Magic's Grand Auditorium, and it's showtime for the exam. The crowd goes silent, whispers flying as soon as Kuki walks in. They clock him as the viral lunatic from the video. Confused why a meme is taking the mage exam, suddenly a tap on the shoulder breaks his focus, making him jump. It's Momo, wearing a megawatt smile, telling him to chill out and crush it. Kuki smiles back, nerves settling down thanks to his new hype woman. But seconds later, his game face is back on. Eyes locked in failure isn't an option. Exam hall lockdown. The test begins and dozens of students are sweating over the written section. Momo is breezing through, looking like a total genius. Kuki eyes the proctor's computer terminal and gets a risky idea. He decides to roll the dice, and a digital magic circle flares up in his palm. He activates his electronic hacking skill, bypassing the exam system's firewall. Later, the students huddle in the hall, glued to the scoreboard. Momo screams, shouting that she can't believe her eyes. Kuki snagged 3rd place, having hacked the answer key like a pro. Meanwhile, Momo is crushed by her own ranking. She's panicking hard, screaming that it's a total disaster, but Kuki just hits her with that chill, reassuring smile. He drops some truth on her, guaranteeing she's going to crush this test, so there's zero need to stress. Turns out round 1 was just to filter out the scrubs. The real nightmare starts now. Cue the flashback. We see Kuki's grind mode over the last month, deep diving into ability research and studying non-stop. He's been spamming practice sessions, mastering his containment skills until they're second nature. No glitches, just skill. That's where the swagger comes from. He's ready to unleash that secret tech he's been cooking up. Cut back to the present. The survivors are huddled in a blank void. The instructor drops the bomb. Phase 2 is a straight-up battle royale. Momo is hyped that they're squatted up. But then comes the twist. A virtual war zone is loading in. Once the simulation boots up, if you can't fight, you're done. It's simple math. Take down enemies, rack up points. Only the top 10 scorers on the leaderboard will survive when the timer hits 0. The pro warns them not to get comfy despite a 3rd stage existing. This deathmatch is where most people get wiped out. Kuki locks in, realizing the odds are brutal. Only 10 spots for this entire crowd. It's do or die. Snap. The instructor starts the 15-minute countdown. Suddenly, reality starts warping around Kuki. He's shook as the scenery glitches and reloads, dropping him straight into a dense forest map. Game on. Momo wastes no time shouting, "Catch you later," as she dives headfirst into the chaos. She charges her ult, unleashing a relentless Gatling gun of fireballs into the fray. Some poor extra gets caught in the blast radius, totally overwhelmed with nowhere to run. The system chimes in. Participant eliminated. Momo fist pumps her kill count while Kuki notes that she really has zero chill in a fight. She goes 0 to 100 real quick. But suddenly Kuki gets cornered by a trio of goons looking for an easy frag. Kuki predicted this. To them, he looks like a free kill, totally defenseless. They have no idea. Guy number 1 fires a glob of sticky blue energy. Direct hit, nope. He realizes instantly he messed up. Kuki's speed is on another level. He sidesteps effortlessly, leaving the attacker shook and speechless. Bully number 2 tries to cheese it with a smokescreen, but it does absolutely nothing. She is completely baffled. The mana gap is just too massive. Seeing magic fail, the 3rd guy pops his Iron Skin buff to tank the damage. He rushes in for melee. Kuki stands his ground, looking completely unbothered by the incoming tank. Bam. One hand. That's all it takes to catch the punch and completely nullify the impact. Cookie mentally notes sticky shot smoke, iron skin, nice loot. He thanks them for the free demo. Time to clap back. Green aura flares around his hand as he boots up one of his copied abilities. He summons a savage thorn beast that absolutely mauls the bully trio. No mercy. System update triple kill. Cookie grins stoked that his new technique works perfectly. Up in the VIP booth, Jimon and Saijiro are glitching out over his abnormal mana levels. Saijiro smirks, betting no one can even touch him. But then the rank 7 hero Araki Leo crashes the lobby. He lands with maximum arrogance. Suddenly, a patch update hits mid-game, leaving Cookie bewildered. New victory condition. Land one hit on Araki, and you instantly pass. It's an instant golden ticket. The professor explains it's a publicity stunt. Araki demanded this to farm content for his YouTube channel. Araki opens his arms like a savior, but let's be real, he just sees these kids as NPCs for his highlight reel. It's all for the clout and the view count. The students see an opportunity, and Zerg rush him instantly. Araki sighs about the burden of fame, then blasts the mob away with a casual wave of energy. He tells them they're dreaming if they think they can touch him. Then he locks eyes with Cookie. His expression shifts. He recognizes the kid from that viral clip blowing up the internet. The one where Cookie was screaming facts on a livestream, exposing them as fake heroes. Back in the heat, Cookie blocks a stray hit with thorns. Then he flips the script. He decides he is going to be the judge and jury today. His aura flares so hard the other mobs can't even approach. Araki snaps, raging about weaklings pretending to be top tier. He launches a full power strike. The energy blades shred right through Cookie's defense, and for the first time our main character takes real damage. Guilt washes over Momo. She feels responsible for dragging innocent bystanders into this nightmare. Steeling her nerves, she steps up to confront the corrupt hero. Calling him out, isn't he going a little too hard on a newbie? But Araki, the guy could not care less. He ruthlessly strikes her down, snapping at her to save the lecture. Battered and confused, she questions if this is what a hero actually looks like, and charges up her flame attack. But he just laughs, trashing her ultimate move as a cheap, useless parlor trick. Defenseless Momo lets out a gut-wrenching scream as his energy blast hits her dead on. The impact launches her like a rag doll, and she smashes into the concrete while Cookie watches from above. Then snap reality glitches. We realize Cookie just saw a premonition of the worst-case scenario. Seeing his friend's potential fate, his knuckles turn white, and pure rage detonates from his body. Araki keeps trashing her skills, vowing to delete anyone who peeps his true colors. Momo tries to scrape herself off the pavement to fight, but Cookie is already moving, blurring past her with insane speed, chaining Smokescreen with Thorn User instantly. Araki freezes, completely shook by how much this kid's mana just spiked. Suddenly, ominous black fog oozes from Cookie's hand as he locks in a new technique. He pulls the trigger, flooding the entire battlefield with thick smog, trapping the hero in total darkness. Araki smirks, thinking it's just a stall tactic trying to read the play. But the smoke isn't just for hiding. Sharp vines lash out from the haze. Blood trickles down Araki's cheek as Cookie points a finger. First blood is mine. Still grounded, Momo stares in disbelief. He actually mastered a brand new skill in seconds. She wonders just how OP Cookie can get as he resets for round 2. Meanwhile, Araki loses it, screaming at the top of his lungs. Do you know how much this face costs? He roars that for scratching his moneymaker. Cookie is absolutely not leaving this arena alive. The air rips open a dark portal. Araki reveals his ace card, a summoning skill. A massive tiger, made of pure, crackling lightning, starts clawing its way out. Araki introduces his pet, the mythical beast Fuma, and signals it to kill. Cookie freezes. The beast's power level is terrifyingly high. We cut to Kanai Momo, who is also fighting for her life against another heavy-hitting monster. Araki Leo smirks, flexing that his ability is a super rare, summoning type. He brags that he has total control over the three-eyed beast, claiming his power is S-class, maybe even beyond. He dares Cookie to survive a taste of one of the rarest abilities on the server. Out of options. The protagonist screams, throwing up a guard, but the impact is catastrophic. Blood sprays everywhere. The shockwave is insane, launching him backward instantly. He hits the dirt, HP critically low, hearing Araki slow clap. The villain is impressed. The kid is breathing but promises the next hit is game over. The beast charges up for the fatality. In the distance, Momo screams desperately for Cookie to just run. Cookie thinks this is the end as a menacing system alert flashes, lethal danger detected. Suddenly, his eyes glow blue. A holographic screen pops up, dragging his consciousness into a digital void. Surrounded by raw data streams, the librarian manifests, suggesting he activate the bind skill. Flashback. 3 weeks ago. Cookie looks totally confused about how the mechanic actually works. She explains that, until now, he's been adding skills but he needs to start multiplying them. Cookie pauses, mind blown. He never even considered that possibility. Instead of stacking powers, he could multiply them to craft a mega spell. It clicks. This is the cheat code he needed to reach the next level. The librarian warns it's dangerous, but Kuki cuts her off. I'm in. Fueled by adrenaline, he swears he'll master the technique to get stronger. Seeing the boy's hype, the librarian smiles. Step 1, read 2 skill books simultaneously. Step 2, synthesize a brand new ability inside his brain. Kuki locks in, processing the data. He has to build a skill from zero. He initiates the sequence, mixing gravity manipulation with cross arts. Inside the library, he slams his hands on the tomes to fuse them. The recipe, a fusion of crushing gravity and deadly spikes, but nothing happens. He screams, it's useless. Absolute silence. The librarian sighs. Using 2 skills at once is already superhuman. But fusing them into a new spell, that's a nightmare, difficulty level. She drops the hard truth. This is the domain of gods, not something a rookie picks up overnight. Snap back to reality. It's exam day, and the tension is suffocating. The librarian watches him like a hawk, while Kuki spirals, realizing his 3-week grind feels wasted. 0 gains. Total failure. Kuki knows if he doesn't clutch this right now, Araki is going to absolutely delete both him and Momo. Then it clicks. The ability he copied from Momo, the one Araki mocked as trash tier. We flash back to that brutal moment hearing the girl scream as she gets wrecked. But Kuki flips the script. Her skill isn't weak. It's lethal specifically because it's so basic. Simple means infinite potential. Suddenly, his chest tightens a sensation, like his heart is being engulfed in flames. A vision manifests in his mind's eye, 2 tomes, one pulsating with a crimson glow. The puzzle pieces align. He finally knows the meta. This is it. Back in the real world, a massive shockwave of red energy detonates from Kuki's core. He dumps his entire mana pool at once, catching his enemy's summon completely off guard. Araki's jaw hits the floor. How does this guy have that much gas left in the tank? Watching from the sidelines, Momo's face lights up with pure, unadulterated hope. Kuki goes all in, channeling his bind skill. He raises a hand, smirking like he's already won the match. Debris starts orbiting him. He's done it, hacking the system by fusing gravity manipulation with his fireball skill. With a savage grin, Kuki names his custom ultimate meteor shower. Araki is frozen brain, unable to process. Staring up at the flaming rocks of death, Araki panics. He screams for Fuma to do something. Anything. Destroy them. The beast reacts instantly, blasting a beam of blue plasma skyward. Pure defense mode. Fuma intercepts the first rock boom fireworks. But Kuki isn't done. He's steering the rest of the payload. A flick of the wrist, and it's an orbital bombardment. The meteors hammer the beast, triggering a chain reaction of explosions. One final blast swallows the arena, kicking up a massive dust cloud. Araki stares at where Fuma was standing. Denial is heavy. He refuses to believe his summon got folded that fast. The smoke clears, showing Kuki standing tall, mastering his new power. Up in the stands, a spectator complains the fight is dragging. The teacher nervously asks Master Sage Tetsu if the kid inside is actually going to survive. They squint at 2 shadows in the haze, and the teacher is totally lost. Cut to Miki Mirai, watching from the shadows like a hawk. The battlefield clears up, and there it is, Araki gasping for air, his mighty Fuma face planted in the dirt. Kuki starts the trash talk, proving that the useless fireball skill is top tier if you use it right. Momo turns beet red, totally swooning. She's never seen this side of him. Kuki keeps pressing, calling out Araki for getting carried by his skill's raw stats. You're weak. Kuki calls him the real garbage, exposing him for looking down on everyone else to hide his own insecurity. Araki snaps. He screams, that's a lie, ranting that he's built different, that he is the chosen one. Kuki shuts him down. Chosen ones don't exist. But Araki laughs, calling him an idiot. Of course they do. Flashback time. 6-year-old Araki, eating a fancy steak dinner with the fam. Mom pulls him aside, brainwashing him. You're special, honey. The world is your oyster. Dad chimes in. Everyone else is just NPCs. Trash. We see mini Araki stepping on another kid, declaring the playground belongs to him. He realized early on he could do whatever he wanted because everyone else was beneath him. Being special gave him the right to be a monster. Fast forward a bit, he unlocks his skill and summons the beast. First time bringing out Fuma. The girls at school go wild, hyping him up as a prodigy. Ego boost confirmed. He orders Fuma to strike a pose. The beast hits a goofy surrender pose, looking like a swole kitten. Araki loves it. This terrifying monster is his loyal pet. Talent plus a silver spoon equals God complex. He thinks the world owes him everything. Snap back to now. Araki is losing it. I have it all, family clout, girls skills. Then he pulls the ultimate pay-to-win move. He whips out a super expensive potion. The crowd is confused. They thought Kuki had this in the bag. Araki doesn't hesitate. He chugs the potion right in front of Kuki. He explains, this isn't just any juice. It's rare loot. Smirking, he reveals it's a full HP and stamina restore. But wait, there's more. It doubles his magic output. Kuki freezes. That item is completely broken. Araki flexes double power means Fuma is about to go nuclear. The beast roars, shaking the arena. A blinding blue aura erupts around it. Kuki is shook, staring down impossible odds. The villain grins, eyes manic. You got anything left in the tank trash? Game over. Momo watches in horror, screaming Kuki's name as the situation goes from bad to nightmare. Araki barks the command, screaming for Fuma to rip the kid to shreds. But then, massive plot twist. The beast freezes, stone still. It refuses to look at him. Kuki stares him down, deadpan ice in his veins, showing zero fear. Araki starts losing it, demanding to know why his living weapon just went away from keyboard. Enraged, he kicks the creature, screeching that he owns it like a dog. But Fuma snaps back, roaring right in his face with deafening force, sending Araki into a total panic spiral. He can't process this glitch. His skill is supposed to guarantee absolute control. That's when Kuki drops the bomb. He summons his own floating grimoire. Surprise, I have the skill too. Araki is floored, thinking it's some cheap illusion. But the protagonist breaks down the game mechanics when two users fight for control. The beast pledges loyalty to the one with the genuine bond. The gears finally turn in Araki's head, and he sneers, calling it a rip-off copycat ability. Desperate, he starts screaming about seniority, claiming he's owned Fuma for years, and demanding submission. But Kuki hits him with the cold, hard truth. He never liked you, bro. Araki freezes, and Kuki explains the failed connection. Cut to a quick flashback of him analyzing the beast, spotting the flaw in their link. Kuki delivers the final blow. Araki's toxic attitude is exactly why the beast switched sides. Fuma's eye flares with an intense glow, new master confirmed. Araki watches helpless as the beast leaps into the air, and lands faithfully at Kuki's side. The protagonist explains that the moment they synced up, he realized Araki was absolute garbage. Kuki reminds him that Fuma is a living soul who deserves a better life. Snapping from the betrayal, Araki shrieks like a toddler, demanding the beast quit playing around and return this instant. But Kuki smirks, reminding him that the potion just doubled Fuma's mana stats. The beast winds up, a massive sphere of raw energy charging in its maw. It unleashes a full power blast point blank, and Araki wails as the beam engulfs him. The impact is catastrophic, shredding him from every conceivable angle. He hits the dirt, mind unable to process losing to a nobody like Kuki. The protagonist steps up, eyes burning with rage, and demands he apologize to his sister. Araki blinks, dazed and confused. What are you even yapping about? Kuki's hand glows, command active. Apologize, he repeats, voice dropping an octave. Losing patience, he grabs Araki by the skull and smashes his face into the pavement. A system notification pings, participant eliminated. Unable to continue combat. Up in the stands, Momo watches the brutality jaw on the floor. The crowd is shook, wondering if this is a hallucination. They finally realize the impossible just happened. Kuki, the dead last ranker, just obliterated number 7. Fade to black. Later, Kuki blinks awake in a hospital bed, feeling groggy. Suddenly, Kanai Momo is hovering over him, voice trembling with worry. She whispers that she was in a coma for a week, 2 mana burnout. She squeezes his hand tight, admitting she's the one who owes him everything. Cheeks flushing pink, she stammers, a thank you. Grateful, he tanked that psycho's attack for her. Kuki stares blankly, brain still rebooting. Then panic hits. He jumps up, the exam, did I fail? Momo grins, flashing a triumphant smile, and drops the good news they both passed. He lets out a breath, just relieved she made the cut. Internally, he's beating himself up, convinced passing out meant he failed. He grips the sheets, knuckles white, feeling weak and useless, doubting he can change the world like this. He forces a smile to congratulate her, but Momo tilts her head, confused by his vibe. With high energy, she corrects him, revealing that he passed too obviously. Smash cut to the massive gold-plated academy entrance. Surrounded by elites, Kuki realizes the tutorial is over. The real nightmare is just starting. He checks the board. Wait, rank 1, he topped the class. Whispers start erupting around him, with students doubting he's actually savior material. Kuki realizes that taking down a top-tier student just put a massive target on his back. Enter Sagai Tetsu, Global Rank 1, the absolute apex predator. His aura is suffocating, yet some kids still talk trash, thinking he's overhyped. Tetsu doesn't argue. He speaks one word, leaking blue energy. Silence. Bam. Massive jagged ice spikes erupt from the concrete, flexing absurd power. Kuki is shook that mana density is on a completely different level. The crowd goes dead, silent instantly. Tetsu glares down at the freshman. Warning, that talk is cheap. Compared to the hell waiting for them, he points to the abyss, the monsters down there, they're hungry. To them, our mana is nothing but a snack. His gaze hardens, drilling the point home. Raw power is the only ticket to survival in this hellscape. Tetsu drops the mic with a brutal ultimatum, a certified mage without strength. They don't even deserve to breathe. Our MC and the crew stare up, absolutely floored by number 1's overwhelming aura. Smash cut to an empty playground, letting the silence settle for a second. Momo is practically vibrating with hype over meeting her idol, while Cookie just can't wrap his head around the fangirling. That's when Momo drops the lore. Tetsu wasn't just a hero, he was the spark that pushed her to become a mage. Flashback time. We see a younger, tinier Momo, huddled alone in the pitch-black darkness of a deep pit, sobbing her eyes out. Out of the shadows, two nightmares with glowing crimson eyes emerge, low growls vibrating in the air. One beast lunges, jaws wide, ready to swallow the helpless girl whole. Panic takes over. Little Momo curls into a ball, screaming and bracing for the end. Bam! Out of nowhere, a massive glacier slams down, freezing the attack instantly. A deep voice cuts through the chaos. Dry those tears. It's Sage Tetsu dripping with god-tier aura, saving her right at the buzzer. He stares her down and drops some wisdom. Get strong and you'll never have to cry again. Snap back to reality. Momo clutches her chest. That was the moment she swore to gain power not for herself, but to save others. Cookie takes it all in, a small knowing smile playing on his lips. He totally gets where she's coming from. Then she flips the script. So, why are you here? His eyes lock onto hers, dead serious. Simple. To stop the apocalypse. Momo pauses a gear, turning in her head. She recalls him trash-talking the seven saviors earlier. She leans in close, dropping the bomb. Let me guess. Can't you a time traveler or something? But before he can sweat, she bursts out laughing. Totally kidding. You just talk like you've seen the ending credits already. Cookie's hands start shaking. He doesn't laugh. I have, he whispers. I've lived through the next 5 years. Momo freezes, brain trying to process the joke. Wait, wasn't he supposed to die? But Cookie cuts her off, begging her not to laugh, demanding she listen closely. Seeing the raw terror in his eyes, the laughter dies in her throat. She realizes, this isn't a bit. The end is real. Our MC confirms her worst nightmare with a grim nod, the air suddenly heavy enough to crush them. Momo looks like she's seen a ghost, realizing even the legendary number 1 is doomed to fail. We get a flash forward to that hellish timeline. Ashia K, lifeless in the rubble. Other heroes slaughtered. Even Sage Tetsu, the pinnacle of power, lying face down in the dirt, utterly broken. Cookie's voice cracks. He explains the brutal truth: he couldn't solo that nightmare. It was physically impossible. He clenches his fist until his knuckles turn white. Doesn't matter how OP you are, he says. We need an army to survive this. Allies. Momo whispers, looking at him with a whole new level of respect. He confesses she's the first person he's trusted with this intel. His first real ride or die. A blush creeps across her face. She beams a sincere smile, thanking him for trusting her with the weight of the world. But logic kicks in. Why keep it a secret? Why not warn the masses? Cookie explains that time regression is ancient forbidden magic, practically a myth. Plus, if word gets out, it puts a massive target on his little sister's back. Momo nods instantly, grasping the danger. No more questions. Okay, she asks, what's the play? Cookie tightens his grip. We level up, fast. That's why he's here. Scene transition. We see the duo strolling through a sunlit park, gearing up for the grind. Narrator drops the info fate or plot armor put Momo and Cookie in the exact same squad. Mages in Training era begins. The squad rolls up to the edge of a massive abyss, prepping to dive into their first dungeon. A salty veteran glances back, smirking. First rodeo for the rookies, huh? Momo is pumping her fist pumped. Cookie, meanwhile, is doing a mental check. He's crushed VR Sims, but this is the real deal. His face goes stone cold. No respawns here. But the vets wave it off, claiming this is just a tutorial run. Stay back and watch the pros, they say. The duo nods, though the tension is thick enough to cut with a knife. Time to dive. No hesitation, one of the senior mages barks the order. Move out. They leap into the void. The squad scales down the jagged cave walls, officially kicking off the exploration mission. Here's the drill. Fresh meat always starts in low-tier dungeons, shadowing the upperclassmen. The vets do the heavy lifting. The rookies are just there to soak up the XP and learn the ropes. Suddenly, a vet groans. A swarm of mobs is rushing them. Seriously. He points at a few stragglers. You two handle the trash mobs. Boom, Cookie and Momo snap into combat stances instantly. It's showtime. Cookie casts his skill, summoning thorny vines that erupt from the ground and bind a monster tight. Target locked. With the beast helpless, Momo charges up a fireball to roast it. The vet nods, impressed. Not bad, kid. Cookie's itching for more action, but the vet shoots him a grin. Chill out, rookie. Slow and steady wins the race. But our MC is overflowing with adrenaline, demanding they witness his next move as he fuses his thorn ability with Momo's pyroblast, triggering a massive area of effect nuke. Momo hypes up the combo, leaving the seasoned veterans completely shook, their jaws on the floor at the sheer power. Suddenly, a surge of mana rushes through Cookie, officially unlocking his mage class. But the victory is bitter. He realizes with frustration that grinding these C-rank trash mobs won't give him the XP he needs to dominate. Smash cut to the surface, Cookie's already vaulting out of the pit. The dungeon gate seals shut, and Momo is bouncing with relief, just thrilled to breathe fresh air again. A vet asks for the debrief, and she admits she was sweating bullets the whole time. But hey, they survived. Then Cookie drops a bombshell on the group. With a stone-cold expression, he's ready to raid a high-level dungeon. Momo gasps, startled by his sheer audacity, whispering his name in panic. The raid leader nods, admitting the kid's raw talent is S tier. But there's a catch. He lectures that raw power is cheap. Actual combat experience is the currency that matters, when lives are on the line. Cookie grips his fist and nods, absorbing the hard truth, while Momo watches him with concern. The scene shifts to a local diner, background characters gripping about hunger, while Momo devours a sandwich. Mid-bite Cookie creates a mental strategy, finally grasping what the old-timers meant. He realizes he can't speedrun boss fights against high-tier monsters, using skills he hasn't mastered yet. He needs the grind, but Momo breaks it to him. The mage system is rigid, and mission access is gate-kept by rank. She asks if he's still rushing, and Cookie confirms he gets the rules, but the clock is ticking. He drops the deadline. They have exactly 4 years and 10 months before the apocalypse hits. Dead serious Cookie lists. Step 1. Recruiting a squad of ride-or-die allies just like her. Momo listens intently, cheeks full of food, nodding along with the vibe. Step 2. Secure high status, so the world actually listens when he sounds the alarm about the incoming doom. Step 3. Copy every essential combat skill, defense to tank hits, and healing to patch up the wounded, basically becoming a one-man army. Momo swallows her food and asks about the fourth and final phase of the master plan. He looks her in the eye. He needs to become OP strong enough to solo the monsters that even the #1 hero couldn't scratch. Fist clenched, the pressure of the timeline weighs on him. He has to move now. Desperation sets in. At this snail's pace, he'll never power up enough to save humanity. Suddenly, a light bulb goes off for Momo, and she snaps Cookie out of his spiral. She explains a loophole: if a mage hits the power level of the 7 saviors, they can bypass the ranking system entirely. Cookie's eyes light up at the shortcut, but she admits she has zero clue how to pull that off. He connects the dots, get recognized by the saviors, and he unlocks access to the nightmare tier dungeons. Cut to a high-stakes meeting room, where the 7 saviors are holding court. Asia K, #5, asks with a smirk, "What's on the agenda today?" And Jumon Saijiro, #2, drops the name the rookie Ikuta Kuki. Hearing this, Kugirampo, #4, scoffs, calling him the punk who humiliated Araki's son. Saijiro breaks down the combat data. The kid used thorns, then instantly chained a second ability. Igawa Himeka, #3, deduces the impossible: the rookie is multi-talented. A total anomaly. Suzaki Arori, #6, just shrugs, looking completely bored by the hype. The room turns to Sagai Tetsu, #1, waiting for the king's verdict. Without a word, he draws an ice blade and blitzes out of the room at Godspeed, leaving everyone stunned. Cut back to Cookie, whose danger senses scream, as an overwhelming aura locks onto him. Back in the room, the saviors are frozen, wondering what Tetsu is planning. Sagai Tetsu teleports out of thin air, right in front of Cookie, ice sword drawn and ready to kill. Rampo is flabbergasted, wondering how he bypassed the security locks, but Cookie doesn't flinch. He triggers a new skill, a magic circle flaring to life in his palm. The saviors watching remotely realize it's a lightning build. The protagonist stares down the strongest man alive and asks what he wants. With a steely gaze, Cookie reveals the plot twist: he actually came here to ask a favor. Saijiro watches the feed, peaked, dying to know what this rookie demands. Cookie looks Tetsu in the eye and shoots his shot. "Let me join the 7 saviors." Cookie is floored by the disrespect, unable to process the sheer ego on this kid. Saijiro chimes in, asking if Cookie thinks one win entitles him to the throne. Asia throws shade, reminding the boy he called the saviors useless before, but Cookie counters, thinking to himself that this clout is the fastest way to S-class. Saijiro analyzes the kid's mana signature, mulling over the rank skip protocol. We learn that even Sagai the goat took 6 months to clear that hurdle. Cookie doubles down, eyes burning, insisting he needs that power upgrade right now. That's the last straw for Cookie, who explodes, screaming at him to check his privilege. He lectures that mages need time to evolve alongside the dungeon difficulty. Enraged Cookie moves to teach this upstart a painful lesson. Seijiro shuts it down instantly. Then he drops a bombshell. He's got a hunch. Cookie is a copycat, stealing abilities left and right. Cookie's poker face cracks, tension radiating off him. Kyugi. He's looking at the kid like he just claimed he could fly. Ashiya is vibing with the possibility of a mimic skill, but Igawa looks like he'd rather be literally anywhere else. Seijiro cuts the chat, hitting Cookie with a hard no for now. You can practically feel the rejection stinging the kid, but Cookie isn't leaving empty-handed. He needs a sage ability, so he flips the switch and dumps his mana reserves. A blinding white aura detonates, crushing the room with insane gravitational pressure. The sages are shook. What kind of broken power level is this? Kyugi flares up, thinking the rookie wants to throw hands. But then, plot twist, Cookie drops into a deep, respectful bow. While the giant stands there confused, Kuki swears he'll take their advice and grind twice as hard. He hits Kyugi with a sincere thank you for the reality check, acting all fired up. Kuki turns to leave with zero hesitation. Kyugi yells for him to wait, and Kuki smirks internally, hook, line, and sinker. The big guy gushes over the kid's mana and impeccable manners. Kuki plays the humble card perfectly, even though acting nice makes him want to barf. Then Kyugi gets real. Why are you so thirsty for power? The vibe shifts instantly. Kuki's face goes dark as he thinks back to his sister collapsing, landing her in a hospital bed. He admits he needs to be a mage she can look up to when she wakes up. Kyugi starts bawling like a baby and grabs him. Screaming, "I'm training you myself." Scene cut to the grand arena where Kyugi breaks down his specialty barriers. Inner monologue time. Kuki already did his homework. He's here for one thing, only to swipe Kyugi's defense. With that shield, he could actually keep people safe. Kyugi squares up for the exam. It's an unstoppable force versus an immovable object. Kyugi stomps, summoning the massive wall of determination. This thing towers over them, radiating pure, unadulterated tank energy. Kyugi grins, daring the kid to scratch it. Kuki doesn't waste a second, he rushes in. He pops Iron Skin and slams into the barrier, face first, triggering a blinding golden detonation. Instant karma, the impact rubber bands right back. The recoil launches him across the arena. He smashes through a floor barrier, but Kyugi catches him, explaining the gimmick: the wall reflects 100% of the damage. He doubles down, challenging Kuki to shatter it if he wants to survive. He's deadly serious. If he pulls this off, he's on the squad. Even better, a ticket to raid an S-class dungeon. Kuki locks in. A seal flares on his hand as he summons Fuma and fuses the spirit with a fireball. It morphs into a colossal flaming tiger. Kyugi's losing its skill fusion shouldn't be possible. Kuki commands the beast to nuke the target. The tiger opens its maw and unleashes a hellish roar of concentrated fire. The inferno travels at Mach speed, incinerating the air itself. Kyugi screams that it's impossible to one-shot his defense. Kuki braces for impact, ready to eat that reflected damage. He waits for the pain, but nothing. Zero damage. He's totally confused. Kyugi drops the lore: if you break the wall in a single hit, the reflection mechanic fails. Kuki is the first person ever to do it. The sage looks at him with new respect. Kuki's a bit shy about the hype, but secretly loving the validation. The big guy grins, genuinely proud. Then he whispers the real question: did you copy it? Kuki nods. Absolute barrier secured. Kyugi's cool with it, but warns him the bootleg version is never as good as the OG. Then the vibe gets heavy. Kyugi asks point blank if Kuki trusts the ministry. The kid freezes, hesitant. Trauma flashes in his eyes. But surprise, Kyugi admits he thinks the ministry is sketchy too. Things have been weird lately, and the Grand Mage is acting sus. Kuki tries to warn him, but it's too late. Disaster strikes. A shadow lunges from behind Kyugi. Kyugi coughs up a fountain of blood. Kuki screams his name, brain unable to process the horror. The killer steps into the light. It's the Grand Mage himself, the big boss. The guy running the whole ministry, the one who saw the apocalypse coming with ancient magic. The hero who handpicked the 7 sages to save humanity. Kuki stares at Kyugi's broken body on the pavement. His voice shakes as he begs the sage to get up, but silence answers him. The big guy is down and he isn't moving. The Grand Mage closes the distance, swinging his blade down for a lethal finish. But Kuki's reflexes are god tier. He instantly triggers the ability he just swiped. Absolute barrier. A shimmering shield slams into place, tanking the sword strike and keeping Kyugi safe from the impact. Fueled by pure rage, Kuki lets out a primal roar and unleashes his offensive counter, the Thorn of Hatred. Massive emerald spikes burst from the void, rushing the Grand Mage with bone-crushing velocity. But the old geezer isn't sweating it. His eyes flare with eerie light as he activates Future Sight, reading the attack before it even lands. He weaves through the spike trap, effortlessly moving like he read the script beforehand. Kuki is losing his cool, completely unable to land a scratch on a guy running wall hacks on reality. To make it worse, the Grand Mage starts spamming illusions, leaving the kid questioning his own sanity. Kuki clocks the old man's movement. It's jerky, unnatural, like a server lag. It doesn't look human. As the mage's avatar flickers, Kuki gets jump-scared by a motion he never calculated. The Grand Mage's head just deletes itself like bad CGI, and then his whole body phases out of existence, leaving Kuki stunned at the vanishing act. Cut to the ministry morgue. Kyugi's cold body lies on a steel slab. Kuki steps up to the corpse, whispering a heavy apology for failing him. With dead eyes, he admits, one detail has been eating at him. Why did the mage spoil the apocalypse, but leave out the part where the sages take the win? Flashback to the visions, every single outcome ended with the sages taking an L. Kuki's brain clicks, and he questions if the mage saw the actual truth. He realizes the old man knew from day one that the 7 sages were never going to save the world. The kid can't wrap his head around why he'd drop a fake prophecy, or what the endgame was. He whips out his phone, GPS lock active, and remembers a little trick called sticky shot. Turns out he tagged the Grand Mage with a tracker mid-fight. The mage took the sticky shot point blank, without even feeling the impact. The skill is basically a homing beacon, pinging the mage's exact coordinates on the map. Cookie locks in, he's going to expose the whole twisted reality. Chasing the signal, Cookie pulls up to a super sus building wrapped in barbed wire. He cracks a door open and freezes at the nightmare inside. It's a full-blown lab packed with weird capsules, looking like sci-fi glass coffins. Cookie wonders why the supreme magic user is hanging out in a place like this. Boom, the old man materializes and launches a heavy strike, ragdolling the boy across the room. Cookie tucks and rolls, snatches a steel pipe and triggers his iron body skill to tank the damage. Metal clashes on metal as he blocks the mage's sword with the pipe. The Grand Mage says nothing, just staring daggers at the kid. The brawl escalates, both trading supersonic hits in a blur of motion. The mage squares up, asking why the boy's moves are defying the forecast. Cookie smirks, he copied the skill, meaning they're both reading the future now. The mage nods, that explains the interference in his future sight. With the playing field leveled, they dive back into a frantic beatdown. Cookie puts the pressure on, screaming for answers about what the foresight really showed. They clash again, weapons locked in a spark-flying stalemate. Cookie grills the mage, demanding the reason for lying. To the seven sages. He visualizes the innocent people suffering and asks how the mage stayed silent, knowing hell was incoming. The kid goes ballistic, accusing the old man of orchestrating the pain on purpose. A vision of his sister in the hospital fuels his rage. Pipe glowing with energy, he screams that forgiveness is off the table. He swings with everything, he's got a critical hit right to the old man's chest. But the mage doesn't cough up blood. He coughs up mud. Cookie pauses, totally tripped out. He strikes again, and the body bursts into a disgusting pile of brown sludge. It hits him that wasn't flesh and blood. Suddenly, a new voice echoes, and Cookie spins around. The voice mocks him, just as he guessed the Grand Mage has been dead for a long time. Sage Ashia Hakaru steps out of the shadows with a wicked grin, confirming the leader is history. Cookie clocks him instantly, and asks what his deal is. Ashia calls him slow on the uptake. He unveils his mud puppet skill, the power to pilot corpses using sludge. Ashia drops the bomb. The Grand Mage was just a marionette the whole time. Cookie is reeling, screaming denial. Then the horror sinks in, the so-called prophecy was just a massive psyop fabricated by Ashia. The villain smiles, admitting he forced the puppet to lie, to guarantee the world's destruction. Cookie is consumed by hate, cursing the sheer evil of the scheme. Ashia breaks it down, science was going to predict the apocalypse anyway, so he used the mage to leak it early and manufacture fake saviors. With the public trusting the seven sages, relief washed over them. That false security made humanity drop its guard, and with everyone relaxed, destroying the world became a cakewalk. Cookie is confused, asking what he means by destroy. Ashia confirms the grim reality, the end isn't just happening, it is their will. He drops the bomb, that's exactly why he had to silence the great mage and take the wheel. He pulled the strings, forcing the old man to feed everyone that lie about the seven saviors rescuing humanity. Cookie's eyes bug out, brain short-circuiting at the audacity. He can't process if this guy is actually serious about something so twisted. A jagged memory of that nightmare day rips through our protagonist's mind, the chaos, the blood. Cookie finally clocks it. Asha orchestrated the whole apocalypse from day one. Asha flashes a chilling smile, admitting he cast himself as a savior just to get a backstage pass to everything. But he gives props where Cookie spotted the glitch in the Matrix and went rogue to save the world solo. Hand glowing with ominous energy. He warns that our hero's little solo campaign is becoming a headache. Cookie tenses up, bracing for whatever horror drops next. Suddenly, the ground turns to sludge. Brown slime erupts rapidly. It's his signature move, Mud Marionette, birthing twisted puppets from the clay. He reveals these are recycled dead mages and dares Cookie to scrap with them. Cookie screams at him to cut the crap. Fist charging up with raw power, he smashes the earth, demanding to know the motive behind blowing up the planet. Asha just smirks, claiming there's no point in a Q&A session, because Cookie is about to be a corpse. Surrounded by a mud army, our boy realizes it's fight or fade right now. He triggers his linking skill, flaring a magic seal on his palm. He stacks gravity manipulation with fireball, cooking up a literal flaming meteor. Asha is actually impressed, noting how spicy it is that he can not only wield, but hybridize his skills. With a predatory gaze, he says he'd love to dissect Cookie's body, then makes a call. He whips out a syringe, threatening to add the hero to his puppet collection. But plot twist, he jams the needle straight into his own neck, channeling Mud Marionette. His physique morphs, instantly bulking up into a hulking clay-infused titan. Cookie is rattled by the sudden transformation, while Asha explains his mud tech buffs the living just as well as the dead. To test drive his new stats, he swings at the hero with a bone-crushing blow, The protagonist barely blocks it, realizing his mana tank is flashing red. Asha taunts him, asking if the difficulty level is too high. Kuki digs deep, fusing Future Sight with Absolute Barrier. To tank the hit, Asha feels the impact against his fist, and finally figures out his opponent's cheat code. He realizes the kid has spliced the Great Mage's Foresight with his own defensive shield. An auto-defense that reads, "The future to block before contact." Insane. But Asha keeps hammering away, betting Kuki's mana will dry up first. The barrier starts fracturing under the assault it's not gonna hold. Out of nowhere, a third skill procs deploying a green energy shield. The villain blinks in surprise, trying to compute how he's running 3 skills simultaneously. Kuki holds the line even though the strain is clearly draining him. Asha admits he's impressed with the combo predict tank and counter. Kuki gasps out, asking what exactly he is, and Asha decides to spill the tea out of respect for his grind. He reveals that the apocalypse is actually a summoning ritual for interdimensional beasts. To make it happen, these monsters seeded the human world with magic. The protagonist freezes, the sickening truth finally sinking in. Asha confirms they gifted this world magic solely to fatten it up for consumption. He keeps going, explaining that mages are basically 5-star meals for these monsters. Magic was just a farming technique, to ripen humans for harvest once they matured. Kuki snaps, yelling, asking if he's seriously cool with that plan. He screams that Asha is human too. Is he okay with being monster chow? But with a wicked ear-to-ear grin. Asha asks, "Who said I was human?" This revelation leaves our protagonist completely speechless, mind totally blown. Suddenly, the villain's body starts snapping and twisting, leaking dark crimson energy. His eyes ignite with a yellow glow, unmasking his true nature. Wings made of pure fire energy rip from his spine. He ditches the glasses, and his face melts into a maw of razor-sharp fangs. His legs mutate, thickening into beastly limbs. Kuki stares up, brain refusing to process the nightmare, unfolding right in front of him. The transformation wraps, leaving a terrifying giant where the scientist once stood. The hero is paralyzed with terror, gazing at the enemy's true form. A voice from the past echoes in his head, telling him he's just bait. We flash back, seeing Araki shoving Irori forward to sacrifice her. She's desperate, screaming, "What are you doing?" He turns cold, declaring he's one of the 7 saviors, so he's too important to die. Araki claims his life outweighs hers, while Momo screams for her sister. Even as she's doomed, Irori screams at Kuki to run because the monster is already here. Back in the present, the protagonist connects the dots. That nightmare creature looms over him, dropping a bombshell. The chosen ones aren't saviors, they're destined to feast on humanity right alongside the monsters. Kuki hits the dirt, knees buckling, heart shattering. The sheer horror of that reality breaks him. The beast sneers, offering a twisted congratulations for survival before saying goodbye. A crimson energy beam rips through the air, aimed straight at our hero's chest. Kuki's limbs are lead. 0 magic left. He's frozen, staring point blank at his own execution. That future sight spam backfired hard. It drained him dry, leaving him wide open. To make matters worse, Absolute Barrier guzzled the rest of his mana in seconds. He recalls that spell isn't just strong, it's ancient. Way out of his league. Sprawled on the cold ground, the despair hits. This is it. This is where he hits his limit. No. He refuses to fade out. Screaming defiance at the Reaper, he tries to force Absolute Barrier one last time. The seal on his hand flickers a weak, dying light. Not enough juice to spark the skill. His hair shifts color, but the magic stalls out. Panic sets in. Then boom. The monster's blast connects, tearing up the earth in a blinding explosion. Flashback. We're back a few days watching Kuki grill the librarian about his true potential. She drops some knowledge, everything he's used so far borrowed. That's why he keeps hitting walls. But his original skill, it's on a whole other level. Kuki stands there, jaw on the floor, processing that he's sitting on a dormant nuke. Eyes lighting up, he asks the big question. Do I have something that's 100% mine? He's hyped, demanding the manual. Then comes the catch. To unlock it, he needs to multitask like a god, activating 7 abilities simultaneously. Kuki freaks out. That sounds impossible, but the librarian connects the dots. His collection of skills isn't random, they're the keys. Fire off all 7 and the crest unlocks. 7, he stammers. The number sounds insane. He argues back. He's barely managed to juggle 2 at once without passing out. She nods. 3 is doable in a fight, but 7, that would suck his mana dry in a heartbeat. Smiling like she knows the ending, she clarifies this is a one-shot deal. Can only be triggered when his mana tank is totally full. Snap back to reality. The attack is incoming. Kuki tries to shield up, but the tank is empty. Despair washes over him. He's running on fumes. He locks in. Pure grit. He braces himself to face the impact head-on. He's pleading with his own body now. Come on, just a spark. Give me something. While he screams into the void, a blur rushes in. Kanai Momo. She shoves him aside and tanks the hit herself. They hit the dirt hard, barely rolling clear of the blast zone. Momo looks up, smiling like she just won the lottery. Kuki's confused. Why are you here? She snaps back, flashing her screen. You texted me, dummy. It clicks. He did send the Grand Mage's coordinates. A safety net he forgot he cast. But relief turns to terror. He yells for her to run. This enemy isn't just strong, it's a catastrophe. I'm tapped out, I can't move. He warns her that fighting this thing alone is suicide. Momo charges a fireball, flames dancing in her palms. But instead of throwing it, she spins and presses her hands against his chest. Cookie gasps. The monster watches amused. It thinks their desperate little drama is beautiful. Suddenly, a violet aura erupts, wrapping around our hero. Healing fireball, she announces. She's not leaving a buddy behind. Cookie feels the mana rushing back in a shock to his system. Refueled, she asks. Now can you beat that ugly thing? Cookie's stunned. When did you learn support magic? It's been a long week, she says, eyes shadowing over the solo hell she survived. Kill the beast, then we talk. The monster spots the rare healing ability and decides it wants that power for its collection. Cookie nods, gratitude washing over him as strength floods his veins. He's back in the game. Flashback to the loser days. No magic. Just a punching bag for every bully at school. He's not that kid anymore. He's done hiding behind his sister's skirt. He vowed to change to never feel that weak again. Now locking eyes with Momo, he realizes he's got a squad he can trust. And finally, he's unlocked his own magic. But the monster laughs it off. It's evolving, gaining magic immunity. Plus, it has insane regeneration. The only way to win, a one-hit KO. The villain gloats. Nothing you have hits hard enough. It charges up a finisher, ready to wipe the board. Cookie ignores the trash talk. He starts stacking skills, fusing them into gravity manipulation. Thorn user, fireball, electronic hacking, Fuma beast. He stacks absolute barrier on top. It's go time. Injecting mud puppet into the combo. The monster shrieks, realizing its energy beam is useless against this setup. But the shield holds firm. Cookie and Momo stay untouched behind the barrier, leaving the villain absolutely fuming. It can't process how a mere human tanked that hit. Then it clocks the black crest on Cookie's hand, ancient magic detected. Hair shifting to electric blue, our MC locks in, declaring he's ending this creature's career right here, right now. Dropping the ultimate save the world line, he gears up to unleash his debut skill. Eyes blazing white, Cookie drops his signature magic, Vanta Black. Through the thick smoke, Mickey Murai strains to see the aftermath. Spotting Kyugi Arashiho flattened on the pavement, the big guy mumbles impossible, before finally blacking out cold. Cookie flashes a victory grin, giving major props to Kanai Momo for the assist. But suddenly dark, sinister energy bursts from his core. Pain shoots through him, dropping him to his knees. While Momo screams his name, Cookie stares at his hand, trying to decode the weird symbol branded there. What kind of ancient sorcery is this? Turns out this is extinct magic stuff that isn't supposed to wake up in modern humans. Only the great mage or a reader of the ancient grimoire can wield it, and the recoil is brutal. Cue the librarian flashback. She reveals Cookie's base skill is actually way more OP, but he's lost clueless on how to control his own magic, or if this is even what she meant. Kanai Momo rushes over, checking his status. Sitting there, Cookie locks in. He has to master this power. Time to get stronger. Smash cut to his past life. He's staring at his phone, jaw on the floor. The screen displays breaking news that the great mage vanished. He's shook. The disappearance of number 4 and the great mage was the story that broke the internet. Scene shift. Ashiya Hikaru is chained up, the prime suspect in the hot seat, running the interrogation. Number 3, Police Chief Igawa Himeka. She steps up, pressing him, asking with a smirk if he's ready to spill the beans yet. Ashiya stays mute, just flexing a bruised, cocky grin. Himeka drops the receipts. His sludge was on the great mage's body. Plus, why was he found face-planted on the ground, looking so pathetic? He hits her with a mocking "who knows," leaving her absolutely triggered. Realizing talk is cheap, Igawa chooses violence. She spawns an arsenal of weapons, warning him she's about to stress test that tough guy act. Then she goes full savage mode on him. Finally letting loose, she flashes a cruel smile, promising to start the torture session right in the gut. Even while getting wrecked, Ashiya compliments the hit. Not bad. Cut to the cold atmosphere of a morgue. Cookie stands over a draped body. Voice low, eyes sad, he whispers that vengeance is finally served. Under the sheet lies Kyugi, the guy our MC just deleted from existence. Suddenly, a glowing book spawns out of thin air. Cookie jumps. It's the grimoire he copied from Ashiya. Why pop up now? The first skill was body control, but the second, soul doll. Cookie's shook. He can respawn a soul into a doll. He realizes he can bring Kyugi back online, since the puppet took him out. He weighs the RNG failure rate but decides to send it anyway. Full focus, he slaps his hand on the corpse and casts soul doll. Golden energy wraps around the body. Boom, a chibi version of Kyugi spawns on the gurney. Meanwhile, his original body turns to dust and fades away. Cookie holds his breath, watching the results. The tiny doll twitches and snaps its eyes open, totally confused. The mini Kyugi looks around dazed, asking where the hell he's at. He spots the MC, asking if he's Akuta, baffled by his own tiny size. Cookie gets in his feelings and squeezes the doll in a massive hug. The doll screams for freedom. Cut to Kanai, Momo waking up and stretching out, totally unbothered and happy. Next day, we catch Momo in the park playing with the Kyugi doll. She thinks he's adorable, but he's salty, scrambling onto her head and yelling at her to quit touching him. Even as a plushie, the old man keeps that tough guy energy, arms crossed tight. He admits he never guessed these two noobs were hiding such massive secrets. Kyugi spits that the world is rotten to the core, Ashia and the Great Mage included. Cookie remembers the mission to cancel the apocalypse. They gotta wipe out thousands of monsters. Plus, Kyugi drops a warning, there might be plenty more Ashia types out there. Hearing that, Momo resolves to level up her game. She wants to be an asset in the fight. Curious Cookie finally asks where'd she unlock that healing ability. Smiling, Momo starts breaking down recent events. The scene dissolves into a flashback. Flashback time. Momo drops the lore on where she met Suzaki Irori, a random crepe spot turned dojo, where the mystery girl leveled up Momo's flame game. Close up on Momo's iris, a blazing phoenix reflects back the raw source of her heat. But mid-training, Irori cuts the session short. She tells Momo she's playing the game all wrong. To prove it, Irori snaps her fingers, summoning a blinding azure inferno that leaves Momo shook. Irori breaks it down. Those blue flames aren't just for show. They strip a skill down to its absolute truth. The verdict: Momo's fireballs aren't weapons of mass destruction, they're healing buffs. Momo stands there, frozen, mind-blown, unable to process the plot twist. Cue the training montage. Momo grinded non-stop until she unlocked the full potential of her restorative flames. Back in the present, she flexes the new skill for Cookie. But he's scratching his head. He copied that same fireball ability, yet he can't pull off the healing trick. That's when little Kyugi chimes in with a theory: it's gotta be a reverse ability. He drops some knowledge on the crew. Skills are two-sided like a coin flip. Good luck can warp into bad luck, and the flip side only unlocks after serious XP grinding. Just like Momo's shift, a defensive barrier could flip into a nuke-level attack. Cookie connects the dots. His own power creates a hidden B-side track too. Before he can dwell on it, a glitchy vision assaults his mind. He sees a jagged black void ripping open the sky above a building. The scene shifts, revealing two uniformed figures lurking in the shadows. His heart stops. His big sister is sprawled on the floor, life hanging by a thread. Cookie jolts back to reality, screaming her name. Momo flinches at the scream. Cookie stares at his trembling hand, the ancient magic crest pulsing. It wasn't a daydream, it was future sight. Zero hesitation. He bolts, yelling over his shoulder that he's gotta move like right now. One thought loops in his brain: Sis is in mortal peril. As they tear through the city streets, Momo puffs out a question. Did he legit see the future? Cookie grimly confirms it. The vision spotlighted that specific hospital, with two shady figures stalking from the perimeter. He pushes his speed to the limit, knowing that if he drags his feet, that nightmare becomes reality. The image of his unconscious sister haunts him, fueling his adrenaline. He kicks into high gear, terrified that he's racing against her death clock. Then boom, the sky tears open, a dark portal forming exactly as the prophecy foretold. The younger punk looks hyped, itching for a brawl, but his partner shuts him down cold. Not now, we're on the clock, he snaps. Cut to the hospital room. Miki Mirai lies defenseless in her bed. The window frames the two villains as they drift inside, silent as ghosts. The leader glides toward the bed, whispering that he's finally here to collect her. He scoops her up and takes flight, while the sidekick whines that this mission is a snooze fest. Just then, Cookie bursts onto the scene, spotting them from a distance and roaring for them to freeze. Our main character defies gravity, levitating until he's eye to eye with the Snatchers. He charges up a containment spell, mixing gravity manipulation with pyrokinetics. Cookie unleashes a full-throttle meteor shower, raining hellfire down on his enemies. But the kid villain barely blinks. He points a single finger, freezing the assault in midair. With a lazy flick, he detonates every single meteor, before they even graze him. Cookie's jaw hits the floor. This power level is actually broken. Seeing the shock, the villain smirks. "What's wrong, buddy?" Cookie snaps, screaming at them to hand over his sister. Right. Now, the leader tilts his head, noting how fast Cookie arrived, almost like he had a spoiler alert for the event. Our hero glares daggers, demanding to know who the hell these clowns are. The blonde baddie senses the magical signature, wondering if Mickey triggered the regression. He grins, realizing this must be the guy who clapped Ashia. Cookie sees Red demanding answers. Are they rolling with Ashia's crew? The partner scoffs, offended. Allies with that loser, please. Cookie reads the room and winds up for round 2, vowing to retrieve his sister. But the leader raises a hand, warning that Mickey is a crucial key for their plans too. With a theatrical snap of his fingers, the vibe shifts instantly. A grotesque, towering demon manifests behind the villains, flipping the battle odds. From the street, Momo and Kyugi crane their necks, watching horrors spill from the rift. The old man is trembling, monsters spawning in the city center, unprecedented. Worse yet, the pressure is suffocating. These beasts are S rank or higher. Cookie stares down the duo. convinced these guys are the architects of the apocalypse. Visions of global destruction flash through his mind, confirming his worst fears. Suddenly, Kusano enters the chat, launching a spike attack at one of the creatures. Cookie ignores the assist, screaming that if they touch a hair on his sister's head, they're dead. But the leader just smiles, dropping a bombshell. Mickey, she isn't your real sister. Our hero freezes brain, short-circuiting, unable to process the words. The villain twists the knife. Mickey is actually one of them. Cookie is left staring into the abyss of total confusion. The truth drops like a bombshell. Her job isn't saving the world, it's total planetary annihilation. Cookie freezes, his reality shattering in an instant. Before he can even process the betrayal, the leader's partner bursts into manic laughter, finding their little brother-sister roleplay absolutely hysterical. Something inside Cookie snaps. His expression goes pitch black, and he roars at them to shut their mouths. Instantly, a memory flashes before his eyes. He sees her again patiently, helping him study that gentle smile, radiating pure warmth. It was the only thing in this universe that ever truly mattered. Snap back to reality, he rejects the lie, screaming that she is his sister. Fueled by pure adrenaline, he triggers every single ability he has ever mimicked. He goes all in, weaving the mud puppet into the mix, and fusing a chaotic storm of powers into one unstable, massive sphere of energy. He unleashes extreme dark light. With a deafening roar, he hurls the devastating attack, catching one of the villains dead center. The baddie doesn't even have time to blink. The sheer force of the impact sends him flying, ragdolling through the air like a discarded toy. Down below, Momo and Kyugi stand slack-jawed, absolutely floored by Cookie's raw potential. Our main character watches through the smoke, heart pounding, waiting for the kill confirm. But as the dust settles, jaws drop, the villain steps out of the crater without a single scratch. 0 damage. Cookie's blood runs cold as he realizes his ultimate move didn't even leave a dent. The villain just smirks, letting out a low, mocking chuckle. He flashes a crest of ancient magic on his own skin. Cookie looks down at his hand, then back at the enemy. It's a match. The realization leaves him completely mute. The enemy's eyes light up. He's finally found a playmate. My hands are tingling, he sneers, deciding to toy with Cookie before ending him. But his partner intervenes, calling off the slaughter. It doesn't matter anyway, the backlash from that massive attack hits Cookie, paralyzing him instantly. Momo screams his name, terror in her voice. She's realizing just how reckless and self-destructive his magic really is. He tries to lunge to do something, but his body betrays him. Every muscle screams in agony, locking him in place. The leader flashes a chilling smile, bidding them a casual farewell. Don't worry, he teases, we'll meet again soon. As they vanish into a portal, Cookie's consciousness fades. He starts plummeting from the sky, gravity taking hold, his final thought clinging to his sister. Momo's screams echo from below as the ancient symbol on his hand dims. He blacks out, whispering her name into the wind. Dream sequence Miki is there, cheering him on, telling him to never give up. But suddenly the memory glitches, warping into a nightmare. Her sweet face twists into a sinister demonic grin. Cookie jolts awake in a cold sweat, heart racing, totally disoriented. He scans the room, sterile white walls, hospital bed. Momo is right there. She explains he collapsed and barely made it out alive. Her healing magic pulled him back from the brink. But panic sets in. He remembers the mission. She's not with them, he shouts, desperate to save his sister. He tries to rip the IVs out and leave, but his body screams in protest. Kanai forces him back down immediately. Look at you, you're a wreck, she cries, tears welling up. She warns him that pushing his limits like that again isn't just dangerous, it could be lethal. Plus, she drops the hard truth. Even his strongest attack didn't put a scratch on those monsters. Cookie doesn't care, he'd rather die than leave his sister to that fate. Suddenly, a tiny voice cuts through the tension. The little mascot creature jumps in, calling him a total idiot. You can't save anyone if you're dead. He tells Cookie to actually master his ability first. He needs to learn control. Without leveling up his power saving, his sister is nothing but a pipe dream. Cookie mulls it over, and suddenly gears start turning. Momo's eyes light up too. She's got a plan. I know exactly who can fix this, she says. Cut to Igawa Himeka, crashing a high-level meeting like a wrecking ball. She's screaming Ikuta Cookie's name. Jimon Sejiro listens to the chaos calmly, realizing the rumors about this kid were legit. Himeka demands immediate arrest. It's a code violation, but Sejiro cuts her off with a wave of his hand. He's my problem, Sejiro states, coolly claiming responsibility since he scouted the boy. Sagai Tetsu bristles, questioning the call. Sejiro just shrugs, telling him to do whatever he wants. Tetsu storms out, leaving the boss alone in the silence. Elsewhere, a teacher steps out of the shadows with a twisted grin. He absolutely loathes cocky rookies like Cookie. Pure malice radiates from him. He decides he's going to delete this kid permanently. Meanwhile, miles away, Sagai Tetsu is powering up. Dark energy swirls around Tetsu's fist, a volatile mix of red and black mana pulsing through his veins. He's locked and loaded. Back in the garden, Momo puts her hands together, begging for a favor to analyze Cookie's stats. She's asking Suzaki Irori, who looks annoyed at having her chill time interrupted, but can't say no to Momo. Fine Irari sighs, but you owe me a premium crepe. Momo squeals and tackles her in a massive bear hug. Kuki watches the wholesome dynamic, surprised Iori actually agreed. Time for business. Iori initiates the scan. She casts a blue analytical flame toward him, but instantly the fire corrupts, turning pitch black and chaotic. Iori freezes in terror. What's wrong? Momo asks urgently. Irori's voice trembles. She can't see stats, only an endless abyss. His skill is off the charts, totally unreadable and suffocatingly dark. The analysis is a bust. Kuki is an anomaly. Iori realizes mere words won't cut it. Kuki needs to witness his power firsthand. She switches strategies, weaving a fresh incantation, igniting a blazing emerald inferno. She warns that this isn't ordinary fire. Anyone who locks eyes with these flames is forced to dive straight into their own psyche. She commands Kuki to stare into the abyss so he can confront his talent face to face. His pupils flare with light, and the spell hits instantly. Just like that, he snaps awake in a warped reality, wondering if he's back in the library. He assumes this is his skill's visualization, but the vibe is completely off. Something's wrong. Then he spots a corpse on the floor. Jump scare, it's the librarian. Panicking, his eyes dart to a shadowy silhouette lurking in the background. The figure pivots, asking if he's here to unlock his potential, sending a chill down Kuki's spine. Slowly, the shadow steps into the light, revealing a shocking truth. He is Kuki's past self, the version of him from the old days. He claims to be the remnant of the time Kuki was a skillless, nobody getting bullied. Kuki is stunned, staring at his middle school reflection, who smirked and called him lucky. His doppelganger drops a bombshell. He didn't just awaken a random skill, he rolled the best one in existence. Sprawled on the floor, the librarian tries to gasp out the skill's name, but her voice fails her. Suddenly, an invisible force ragdolls her across the room before she can speak. Kuki freezes, paralyzed by the brutality. While his alter ego unveils the truth, his ability is creation. Clutching a tome, he declares, "This is the primordial power, the first magic of the world." The protagonist stands there, brain-blasted by the revelation, unable to compute the scale of this power. It turns out, creation literally warps reality to match the user's desires. His past self explains that copying other skills, that was just the grinding phase to farm magical materials. Now the question is, what's the endgame? What kind of magic does Kuki crave? The boy hesitates, but his shadow self cuts deep, pointing out his lifelong jealousy of other people's strength. He projects images of powerful rivals, reminding Kuki of every time he wished he was them. The past version gets in his face, asking the hard question, doesn't he want to become the strongest entity alive? If not, he'll never have the juice to save his sister. A dark, oppressive energy begins to leak out as the shadow urges Kuki to surpass his limits. He insists the power is already there. All he has to do is want it, badly. Kuki locks in, focusing his desire, and manifests his second ability, the terrifying Sinister Eye. Black energy explodes outward, instantly corrupting every bookshelf in the library. His past self cackles, celebrating that the days of being a manaless failure are over. He declares that every spell and book manifesting right now belongs to Kuki. Drowning in this aura, Kuki unlocks his true potential, transforming into a demon king. The scene snaps back to reality, showing Irori's analysis ritual in progress. The young man stares into the void, completely zoned out in the swirling green magic. Kanai starts panicking. Kuki looks like he's in agony, and she prays he makes it back in one piece. But out of nowhere, a golden lightning bolt slams into the earth, shattering the ritual. Reacting on instinct, the small creature throws up an absolute barrier to shield them, catching Kanai off guard. Smoke clears and Sumon Seijuro steps up, hammering the barrier with a high-voltage strike. The impact is devastating. The shield explodes, blasting the small creature backward. Seijuro smirks, noting that for a Kyugi, that defense was surprisingly tanky. The girls are left trembling, realizing a new hexagonal shield barely saved the group. Seijuro stares them down, mocking the seven saviors for falling so low. Small Kyugi demands to know his business, and Seijuro casually announces he's here to bag Ikuta. With a twisted grin, he offers a fake apology in case he accidentally deletes the boy. Kyugi shouts for the girls to protect Ikuta, and launches a full-send attack at the enemy. But a split second before impact, the old man glitches out of existence, leaving Kyugi swinging at air. The attack misses, and Kyugi is stunned by the opponent's god-tier speed. Kyugi takes a barrage of hits, complaining that he can't even track the guy's movements. Seijuro reveals his hand. His skill is speed of light, literally invisible to the naked eye. He lands a heavy blow, trashing the little one for thinking he stood a chance. But Kyugi forces himself up, fueled by the memory of Ikuta saving his life. With every ounce of grit he has left, he screams that he won't let Ikuta die, no matter the cost. Suddenly, a massive wave of dark aura bursts from Kuki, lifting him off the ground. Irori and Kanai whip around, realizing he's finally snapped out of his trance. The young man hovers ominously, cloaked in black energy, as his second ability kicks into gear. His power goes full throttle, and the system announces its name, Extreme Black Eye. Kanai is left speechless as the skill's activation drops an insane amount of gravitational pressure. The girls feel their HP draining rapidly, confused by the sudden debuff. Even Seijiro feels the heat, realizing this skill copies powers from everyone in range. Worse, it's aggressively and endlessly, vamping all their magical energy. Kyugi collapses, totally drained, and asks Ikuta what the hell this power is. The camera pans out, revealing the ability is so broken, it's affecting civilians in the city. Kyugi screams Ikuta's name. With an icy glare, he hits him with a hard question, accusing him of siphoning power like a common thief. The protagonist just shrugs it off, he already knows. Kyugi drops his jaw as the MC lays down the hard truth. None of this matters if he's too weak to save his sister. Proving his point, he raises a fist glowing with a bizarre sigil time to level up. Ikuta declares he's going to drain everyone's energy. To become the absolute apex, Kanai loses it, screaming his name, begging him to quit this madness immediately. But Saigeru just cackles. Knew it. This kid is a walking apocalypse. That seals the deal. He decides he has to delete Cookie from existence right here, right now. He pops a handful of pills, instant buffs, boosting his magic output by over 100 times. Golden energy floods his eyes, signaling a massive power spike. He goes all out, launching a catastrophic blast. Roaring for the kid's death, he charges, hand glowing, aiming to land the fatal finisher on Ikuta. Cookie. Blocked. Midair. The old man's eyes bug out in disbelief as Cookie stares down at him from above. He warns that a fake savior ain't touching him. Suddenly the sky rips open, dark portals everywhere. Flexing his new stats, a barrage of mixed magic rains down from the void, peppering Saigeru from all angles. Caught in the crossfire, he screams as he's ragdolled backward. But mid-fall, he feels a new energy spiking, totally blindsided. Cookie triggers his first skill, Extreme Black Light, and blasts a massive beam. Direct hit. The old man shrieks as the impact crushes him, leaving his body drenched in crimson. Cookie hovers there unbothered. Kyugi is shook. Cookie tanked that massive attack with zero recoil. Irori figures it out. He negated the damage by burning the magic he stole from the others. Kanai stares heartbroken. Is this really the answer? She screams that gaining power like this isn't the real Cookie at all. The kid just looks at her dead eyes, totally checked out. Kyugi steps in. It's pointless. He's gone. Then he drops a bomb. He's gonna find the sister. He can feel her resonance inside him. Eyes shut, he locks in, tracking the magic trail. Eyes snap open. Smirking, he says, "Gotcha." Arm raised high in the shadows. Cookie vows to save his sister. The squad gasps at the portal, and Kyugi insists they're riding shotgun. Cookie shuts him down cold. He doesn't need them. They're just dead weight. Kanai is stunned by the frostiness, screaming for him to stop. He steps into the void anyway, totally ghosting Kanai. Desperate, she reaches out one last Hail Mary, screaming she won't let him solo this. Suddenly, Kanai and Kyugi get sucked into the portal, leaving Irori in the dust. Irori freezes. She's not alone. Sagai Tetsu manifests behind her, looking menacing as hell. He looms over her, ready for round 2. Meanwhile, in a wrecked hall, 2 guys watch a girl's body on an altar. One grins, can't believe the dude pulled off reversal magic. The other complains that not only did she bail, she swiped the book too. That runaway girl is a headache, but the ritual, still on. With the juice in Miki's body, he's gonna wait. Silver Hair senses a disturbance. His partner is clueless. It's Cookie descending the stairs, followed by a voice, sarcastically telling him to roll out the red carpet. Kanai Momo bursts in, begging Cookie to chill and listen. Boom. Dark energy detonates instantly. She and her pet freeze up, totally caught off guard. Blonde guy steps up draped in aura, noting Cookie walked right into their turf. Cookie stares blankly. No reaction. The enemy gets hyped. This is perfect. He lunges full throttle. Getting up in Cookie's face, he says he's been dying to toy with him. Grinning like a maniac, he unleashes a high-voltage strike. Boom. Direct hit on our hero. Villain's not done yet. He breaks down his skill, spatial bypass. Lets him glitch through space to land hits. He swings again, claiming it's undodgeable, vowing to beat him to a bloody pulp. He keeps spamming attacks, asking if he's too fast. Then he notices something weird and gets ticked off. Cookie isn't even flinching while eating those shots. Enemy is shook. Our hero catches the fist mid-swing and demands, "Give back my sister." He triggers absolute black light. Bizarre energy erupts. The villain buckles under the insane pressure. Cookie's aura flares, absolutely dwarfing the competition. He manifests a blinding sphere of light, and Crunch shatters it in his bare grip like it's nothing. The shockwave slams the enemy into the dirt face first. Zero reaction time, zero defense. No hesitation. Cookie winds up for the kill shot and drives a devastating fist straight into the fallen guy's mug. The blow is so brutal, blood sprays like a fountain. The villain is mashed pulp, sputtering curses through broken teeth. He screams bastard, completely confused how Cookie mastered the energy that nearly killed him last time. Cookie, he just stares. Dead eyes. Stone-faced silence. Bam. Another hit lands with such force the shockwave nearly blows Kanai off her feet. The enemy starts panicking, his magic is vanishing. He accuses Cookie of siphoning his power like a parasitic battery. Cookie is high on the juice. The power feels insane. Meanwhile, Kanai Momo watches from the sidelines, looking terrified of what he's becoming. Cue the beatdown montage. It's a blur of knuckles and red splatter until the villain is laid out flat. Game over. Broken but defiant, the guy glares up. Cookie demands his sister's location but gets a chilling reply. She's rolling with Mobius now. That triggers Cookie instantly. The villain doubles down, confirming Mobius is the name of their squad. He drops the lore 5 warriors born to keep the world's order in check. Kanai gasps, stunned to hear they label themselves warriors, protectors of their realm. Suddenly Ashia phases in, clarifying their actual gig, making sure the ritual goes off without a hitch. Cookie freezes. They aren't saving the world, they're controlling its apocalypse. But he snaps out of it and shuts them down. I don't give a damn. He ignores the politics, turns to Kanai, then gives the villain a hard 5-second deadline to spill his sister's location. Or he's a corpse. Cookie starts counting down the pressure, crushing the guy into the floorboards. 1, 2. Suddenly, Kanai lunges. She grabs Cookie's face, halting the execution. He's stunned, looking at her like she's lost her mind. She screams in his face. How can he say he doesn't care? She reminds him of the hell they walked through to get here. They came to stop the apocalypse. She accuses him of hijacking his sister's power and losing himself. He's hurting people now. She pleads that the real Cookie, the one with the pure skill, isn't evil. This isn't him. Suddenly, a pink aura erupts around her. As she screams that she's not the chosen savior, a voice echoes inside Cookie's skull. What kind of mage do you want to be? Flashback time. We see a woman asking a tiny Cookie what kind of magic he dreamed of wielding. Kid Cookie is hyped, shouting, he wants the strongest power ever. She probes deeper. And what would you do with all that muscle? He pauses, thinking hard, then beams. He'd use it to keep his sister safe, obviously. She smiles warmly but shakes her head. That can't be the only reason. He looks confused. She drops some wisdom. Great power means protecting everyone, not just your favorites. She bets on him becoming a top-tier mage, regardless of his skill. The image shifts, showing the silhouette of a true hero. A hero who helps strangers. Power exists to save people, period. Little Cookie is buzzing with energy now. Can I be a savior too? Really? She pats his head. Absolutely. As long as he never quits, he's got this. Snap back to reality. Cookie freezes the memory, hitting him like a truck. The savage look in his eyes softens. The nostalgia hits deep. Then wham! He unexpectedly gut punches Kanai. She screams, crumpling in pain. The villain spots Cookie's aura flicker out. Get him now, he barks. The partner charges in for the kill. They start wailing on our boy. No mercy. Soon, Cookie is the one eating dirt, totally wrecked. While the villain gloats, an image of Cookie stands up in his mind. What are you doing just lying there? His inner self warns him he's about to take the L. Cookie thinks I need more mana. Must save sis. But he shakes it off. No. His younger self looks confused, not getting why he's refusing the power. He recalls the envy, the hunger to be the strongest, the jealousy he felt watching others flex their skills. But deep down, he just wanted his sister to be proud. He wanted to be a defender of the weak. Like Mickey. Like his sister. A mage who shields the people who matter. Cookie roars. If he isn't that hero, he can't look her in the eye. He promised to protect the whole damn world. To be everyone's savior. Suddenly, a splitting headache drops him. He screams, and the world shifts. Cookie wakes up in a stark white void, looks like a library. The skill librarian materializes in front of him. She catches him off guard. The creation skill evolves, she explains. And you finally get it. A brilliant blue aura bathes Cookie. This is it. His true power. The librarian smiles and hands him a book. The system announces the world's very first skill has been unlocked and demands a name. Snap back to reality. Cookie is face down in the dirt. Battered and broken, Kanai screams his name, desperate for a response. Suddenly, our main character slowly rises, shocking the villain. The bad guy can't compute how Cookie is standing while his eyes are still shut tight. Inside our hero's mind, a voice echoes, christening the new ability. His eyes snap open, blazing with neon blue energy, as he declares the skill, Light of Salvation. The enemy is confused. He senses 0 mana coming from this kid. He assumes it's a desperate bluff. Cookie admits his mana tank is empty, but the villain just rolls his eyes at what sounds like a lame excuse. The enemy winds up for the kill, shouting that he's going to wipe the floor with Cookie and the weaklings. Suddenly, an insane amount of mana detonates from Cookie. The villain is blown back, stunned by this impossible power spike. The hero reveals the truth. This is Savior's magic, a cheat code that only triggers to protect others. And since he's fighting to save his squad, his mana supply is officially infinite. The villain starts losing it, screaming that unlimited energy is a glitch in reality, and throws his entire arsenal at the hero. But Cookie, he casually parries every single strike. The enemy is left speechless as his space warping attacks just phase out before making contact. Cookie drops the mic. He's decoded the villain's gimmick. The bad guy stands there completely frozen. Cookie explains the rules. Once his eyes see a skill, that attack is banned from ever hitting him again. The villain rages at how broken that ability is, but Cookie's palm is already in his face. With a single tap, he unloads a burst of azure energy, instantly stun-locking the enemy. The guy is paralyzed with shock, trapped in a millisecond by a power tier he didn't know existed. The surprise is so intense that the villain's own eye begins to glow, reflecting the sheer intensity of the magic. Nearby, his partner clocks the white sigil, a magic attribute that's never been seen on the server. Cookie confirms it. He's wielding the light attribute, a unique power exclusive to him. He charges up for a maximum output strike, channeling the raw force of his first skill. He unleashes pure white light, and a massive orbital laser beam crashes down from the sky, smashing into the villain with god-tier force. When the dust settles, the enemy is flattened on the ground, and Cookie stands tall as the victor. Cut to the other villain who was busy inspecting Mickey's body on the altar. His eyes practically pop out of his head, unable to process the beatdown he just watched. Seeing Cookie flanked by his friends, he realizes his partner just got absolutely wrecked. A new challenger approaches a villainess who thinks it's pathetic that her ally lost to a mere human. Beside her, a creepy skeleton manifests, asking if they should turn Cookie into confetti right now. She tells him to chill. She needs a moment so the skeleton better handle the trash. Meanwhile, Kanai and Momo tackle-hug Cookie, hyped that he's finally snapped out of it. Momo points out that he's unlocked another OP ability, and he thanks them for having his back. Cookie flashes a genuine smile, thanking Momo for keeping his head in the game. She grins back, telling him, "That's just what comrades do." Hit right in the feels. Our hero starts crying, tears of joy, totally agreeing. But the vibe switches instantly. Cookie senses his sister's mana signature nearby. Kyugi panics, realizing this means major trouble is heading her way. Cookie decides he has to rush to his sister, and tells the squad to log out and return to their world immediately. But two new enemies block the path, warning that nobody is interfering with the plan. Our hero is caught off guard. He didn't account for enemy reinforcements. The girl Noroko snaps a photo, mocking how her ally got knocked out cold. Kyugi loses his temper at the disrespect, and screams, demanding to know who these clowns are. The skeleton Hyobi says names don't matter since they're all about to be deleted right here. Cookie reads their mana levels, while the villains casually tell them to die, no hard feelings. The girl smirks with pure malice, asking if they really thought they could interrupt the ritual. Anxious but ready, our hero preps for round 2, the sigil flaring in his hand. Suddenly, little Kyugi stomps the ground, triggering his own ultimate. He erects an absolute barrier, locking the two villains inside a magical cage. He shouts for Cookie to make a run for it. They'll tank the damage here. Cookie freezes, torn about abandoning his friends to fight alone. But Kanai screams at him to go, reminding him that saving his sister is the priority mission. He steals his resolve, puts on his game face, and gives his friends a nod of deep gratitude. The gap Kyugi made in the barrier only stays open for a few seconds, but that's all the time our hero needs to slip through. He rockets past, but the villainess sneers, warning him he's not going anywhere. Suddenly a wall of fire erupts and a voice shuts her down. Kanai and Kyugi step up, declaring that the villains have to go through them first. The skeleton sighs, finding this resistance annoying, while the girl scoffs, doubting they can actually win. Kyugi admits that normally against this power level, they'd be toast. He asks Kanai if she feels the surge too, and she confirms the buff immediately. Here's the twist. Cookie's skill, the Light of Salvation, is a giving power. That means the mages he copies get access to a slice of his infinite mana pool. Kyugi braces himself, roaring that he's going to maximize this power loan from Ikuta. Kanai glows fully charged and ready to brawl. Lay a finger on Cookie, and it's over. That's the vibe as Cookie rockets forward, carving a path of absolute devastation through the battlefield. But out of nowhere, boom, a freakish red energy dragon materializes dead ahead. Cookie knows instantly this just got complicated. He doesn't hesitate, sparking a new ability in his palm, Light of Salvation. Now every spell he casts is buffed with the light attribute. Mid-attack, Cookie gets a bad feeling. He can track his sister's mana signature, but something is blocking him from getting close. Then it clicks. She's being held by Mobius Naruko and that bone bag Mobius Hyobi. His thoughts race. Kanai, Momo, and Kyugi are barely holding the line. Cut to Mobius Naruko, dripping with arrogance. She turns to the skeleton, smirking. Who do we zero out first? Suddenly, Sagai Tetsu crashes the party, leaving Suzaki Irori completely shook. 3 enemies on the field. This looks bad. Suman Seijoro is reeling, demanding to know what the hell Sagai is doing here. Sagai just clenches his fist. His mind flashes back to the other day. The medical center. The tests. He remembers that chilling sensation creeping up his spine. That was the moment dark energy first erupted from his arm. Deep inside that void, something evil was lurking, waiting for him. He realized the source of his curse was out there. That's why he's here now. He's rushing in to settle the score. Suzaki Irori freezes at the word. A curse, she stammers. Mobius Naruko grins like a predator. Ding ding ding. He's right. The tension spikes instantly. Behind her, a nightmare rises, the Phantom Beast doll. A terrifying SSS-class monster. Mobius strikes a pose, oozing confidence. She's engulfed in a blazing red aura. Sagai doubles over, clutching his chest as the curse resonates painfully with her power. She drops a bomb. The girl is wielding the ultimate curse. Sagai grits his teeth, demanding a reason. Mobius laughs. I saw the future. A world overflowing with mana and monsters. Suman Seijuro goes pale. She's describing the apocalypse. But she's not done. In that doomed future, there was one specific guy who ruined everything. She points a finger straight at Sagai. That guy was you. He was too strong. Terrifyingly strong. That's why she had to curse him. It was a nerf. A failsafe to ensure that in 5 years, he would be too weak to fight at full power. Suzaki Irori is spiraling, mind blown by the insanity. She hates herself for not being able to save him. Kuki, however, sees the big picture now. Mobius twists the knife, sneering that her mere presence amps up Sagai's pain. Suman Seijuro realizes they're outmatched. Sagai fall back. Now. But suddenly Kyugi slams down his absolute barrier. The enemies flinch at the technique. Suman yells the warning. That dome stays sealed until someone inside drops cold. Mobius Naruko smirks. Clever. Trying to separate us. Kyugi shoots a glance at Sagai, apologizing. Even with Kuki, this is going to be rough, he thinks. Kuki runs the numbers, taking on both bosses at once. Suicide mission for him and Kanai. He makes the call. Sagai, you take the skeleton. I've got Mobius. The skeleton Mobius Hyobi doesn't hesitate. He unsheathes his katana. Sagai counters, manifesting a blade of pure blue energy. Boom. They collide. The impact sends shockwaves rippling out, a chaotic mix of red and blue auras. Even with the curse eating him alive, Sagai blocks the strike. His raw strength is absolutely broken. Mobius Hyobi is actually impressed. Not bad. I'll give you a fair warning out of respect. My blade shatters magic. One scratch, it's over. Instant death on contact. Sagai stiffens. Meanwhile, Mobius Naruko taps into ancient magic, wearing that same cocky grin. The giant doll looms over them, its massive cursed eye snapping open. The mechanic is simple but brutal. Lock eyes with the doll and your body disintegrates. Kanai and Kyugi get snagged instantly, dark energy wrapping around them like vines. Mobius cackles. Does it hurt? Just give up and die already. But Kyugi, he's unbothered. With a primal roar, he flexes and shatters the curse hold completely. The villain's jaw drops. How Kyugi explains simply, I'm a clay doll. No real flesh to curse, just a vessel. He turns to Kanai. You good to go? She nods, eyes blazing. You bet. She unleashes Healing Phoenix Fireball. A fiery bird erupts, burning the curse away. Mobius is losing it. Impossible, she shrieks. How did you cancel it? Kanai smirks. Couldn't do it before, but thanks to Akuta, I'm upgraded. The villain laughs, masking her frustration. Fine. Curses don't work. We do this the hard way. She commands her SSS-class monster to go full throttle. Kyugi grabs a massive rock. Kanai, hit them with everything you've got. She focuses, desperate to prove her worth to Kuki. Kyugi reminds himself of his promise to hold the line. A real man keeps his word. Perfect sync. Kanai combines her skills, unleashing a titanic fire tornado straight at the monster. Kyungji unleashes the absolute barrier slab breaker, pulverizing the rock in one massive strike. The powers fuse together, triggering a screen-shaking explosion. The blast swallows the enemy whole. When the smoke clears, the beast is toast, and Mobius Naruko collapses, completely drained of energy. Kanai and a gassed-out Kyungji stand tall, the last one standing in the wreckage beyond the barrier. Mobius Hyobi realizes Naruko is down for the count. Suman drops a quick apology to Kyungji, telling him it's all on him now. Kyungji flashes a grin, thanking him. He admits he hasn't felt this kind of raw power flowing through his veins in ages. Suman tells him to unleash the beast, and Seige gears up to show them why he's known as the strongest man alive. Mobius Hyobi hits the reset button, spawning a horde of twisted nightmares to rush them. Kanai completely loses it at the sight of the freaks, screaming, "What the hell is that thing?" But Seige, he doesn't flinch. He just locks in, queuing up a special move. He triggers absolute water temperature, hitting the mob with catastrophic force. Instant flash freeze. The humidity snaps to ice, shattering every monster into dust. Suzaki's jaw practically hits the floor, saying, Segai is on a god-tier level. Suman breaks it down. The guy hacks moisture itself, freezing or frying anything in range. The skeleton realizes that's terrifying since everything living is full of water, but he rushes in anyway, screaming he's immune because he's dry as a bone. The fight resets, locking them into a high-octane sword duel. The skeleton talks trash, claiming the skill is useless, but Seige just says, "Then I'll just hack you to pieces." They launch into a supersonic flurry of strikes, steel clashing mid-air. Even Mobius Hyobi has to admit the title strongest isn't just hype, but he remembers Seige is only human. He dives for a kill shot from above, but Sege sidesteps it like it's nothing, leaving the skeleton shook that he missed. He explains, his finishing sword is a one-hit kill, and that even a scratch spell's game over. With total arrogance, the bone bag swears he won't whiff the next one. Sege stays quiet for a beat, then drops the bomb. Time to get serious. The skeleton isn't buying it, but Sege confirms the enemy has no water, then hits him with the twist, but my body is full of it. A blazing aura flares up. With a look of pure focus, Sege preps to unleash a brand new ability. He drops into a stance, steam pouring off his skin. The skeleton stutters, completely freaked out, asking what the hell he's doing. Suddenly, Sege is revealed, radiating a terrifying, boiling red energy. The skeleton finally clicks. Are you boiling your own blood? Sege confirms it amps his stats 3 times over, but it's a short burn, so he warns him, this ends right here, right now, and launches forward. The skeleton is paralyzed with fear. He can't even track the movement. Desperation kicks in. He can't see the blade. He realizes this is a whole new ballgame, and tries to defend. The skeleton realizes his only option is to turtle up and block everything. Suzaki screams, he's too fast. Even Kyungji admits he's blind to the action. The clash continues at a glitchy speed, sparks raining down. Mobius Hyobi watches in awe, calling Sege's blade control a masterpiece, a lethal dance of steel. Sege keeps the pedal to the metal, giving the enemy zero room to breathe. Suddenly the skeleton sees a gap and strikes, but he's already dead. In a blink, Sege teleports behind him. The finishing blow is so clean it takes the skeleton's head right off, who thinks magnificent as he dies. His body hits the dirt, and the fight is officially over. The adrenaline crashes hard. Sege's power fades, leaving him drained. Suzaki stares shook, realizing this is why he's ranked number 1. Kyungji is speechless, admitting it was pure spectacle. Sege asks if they can move, but Kanai tells him to hold up. Suddenly, a massive, grotesque beast spawns out of nowhere, catching everyone off guard. Sege wastes zero time. He triggers his skill and turns the giant monster into a popsicle. He quips that it's payback for lifting the curse earlier. Kyungji raises an eyebrow, muttering that it's surprisingly warm for such a cold guy. Cut to Kyungji, hovering midair, with a dead serious look. The barrier is gone, but the vibe is still off. As he flies forward, his sister's mana signature feels like it's drifting further away. He realizes it's a trap, some kind of labyrinth skill. He decides to quit playing games and just nuke the maze with light magic. It works, but the victory is short-lived. He spots his sister laid out on a dark altar, and his heart sinks. He screams her name in pure despair. The mystery man slow claps, warning him that the ritual is already a wrap. Blinded by fury, Cookie detonates his aura, screaming at the top of his lungs for the villain to hand over his sister right this second. He launches a blinding beam of pure destruction, but the bad guy just smirks. A crimson aura flares up, swallowing the impact head-on. But the shadows start warping. Cookie freezes, realizing his strike isn't doing a thing. Then, in a split second, the entire blast rebounds, slamming right back into Cookie. The enemy glares down, mocking him for not realizing his attack was totally mirrored. Crumpled on the floor, Cookie spots Mickey laid out on a sacrificial altar and demands to know what this twisted ritual is. A voice cuts in, that girl over there. She isn't his sister. With a creepy grin, the villain drops the bombshell. She is actually their little sister. Cookie's brain completely short-circuits trying to process that insanity. Suddenly, a familiar voice pierces through the confusion. He jolts, it's Mickey's voice inside his head. Is that really her? The enemy flinches, stunned that she's communicating while supposedly knocked out. The voice wraps around Cookie warmly, thanking him for showing up and apologizing for this whole chaotic mess. Then comes the truth bomb. She really was an operative for the Mobius organization. The scene dissolves into a flashback, where Mickey explains the Mobius crew consisted of 5 elite warriors. She spent her early days there, serving as the squad's rookie. Their grim duty, policing the underworld, a realm crawling with monsters, and funneling those beasts into other dimensions to fuel a massive realm-shattering invasion. But over time, the mission started eating away at her conscience. Deep down in her gut, she began questioning every command. Mickey couldn't stop wondering if destroying other worlds was actually the right move. The endless screams echoing from the abyss haunted her. She knew with total certainty that this was dead wrong. So one day, she confronted the team. The leader just smiled chillingly, telling her to stop overthinking and shut off her brain. But Mickey stood her ground, screaming she was done with the bloodshed. That's when Gingy snapped, striking her down, and barking at her to zip it and fall in line. As she collapsed, the others circled like vultures, reminding her they exist only for his mission. The leader loomed over her, warning that desertion was the one sin he'd never forgive. Young Mickey lay there, frozen in absolute terror. Backed into a corner, Mickey made the only choice left. She had to bail. She'd bolt to a new dimension and find real peace. Grabbing a forbidden artifact, the Tome of Regression, she abandoned the darkness forever. She washed up alone on a sun-drenched path in a totally different universe. Drained of all energy, she passed out, but not before sensing a presence. The person who found her was none other than Cookie's future mom. The memory shifts, showing the woman opening her home to this strange child. They forged an unbreakable bond instantly, becoming a true mother-daughter duo in every way that matters. The woman poured her heart into raising her. Then one day a massive surprise dropped, changing Mickey's trajectory forever. Her adoptive mom gave birth to a bouncing baby boy, little Cookie. She was over the moon. This was the real family she craved, not just empty titles, like the cold hierarchy of Mobius, but a genuine unit glued together by love and warmth. Mickey whispers that every single day since meeting Cookie has been a blessing. We see a montage of the past, with mom reading bedtime stories, then a teenage Mickey walking her baby bro to school, hand in hand. Even simple moments like epic water gun fights in the yard became core memories. Mickey thanks him for the smiles and for giving her a place to belong. With a pure, innocent grin, little Cookie loved hanging out with his big sis. Back in the present, Cookie is sobbing at the truth. Even while trapped, she smiles at how much he's grown but begs him to flee. She warns him to watch out, because their leader Roku is a monster. But Cookie screams he can't leave, reminding her of the very lesson she taught him. The visual shifts to Mickey coaching a young Cookie. She'd always smile and say that if he never gave up, he could achieve the impossible. Eyes blazing with determination, Cookie declares he is absolutely taking his sister home. He flares a brilliant blue aura, roaring that they're leaving together. But Roku cuts him off, snapping that this is family business and he needs to shut his mouth. Ignoring him, Cookie clasps his hands and charges another concentrated blast. He unleashes a beam of pure blinding white light straight at Roku. But the attack mirrors, instantly smashing Cookie into the dirt. Gritting his teeth, he realizes he has to be careful, not to catch his sister in the crossfire. He teleports, trying a sneak attack from the rear, but it's pointless. As the light beam curves and slams him again, Cookie realizes with horror the light always returns to its source. Time to flip the script. He triggers a containment skill to lock everything down and lunges forward to seize his target. Roku doesn't even flinch as the inferno barrels toward him. Boom, the blast pulls a U-turn, slamming right back into Cookie's face. Cookie shrieks as the flames scorch him. Roku towers over the smoke, icing him with a glare. Get it yet, you can't touch me. Cookie's mind races. What kind of broken ability is this? He strains his eyes, analyzing the monoflow, but nothing. The copy skill is drawing a blank. Roku smirks, dropping the cold hard truth. Keep swinging, kid. You're only hurting yourself. Ritual's almost done. Sit down and shut up. But Cookie snaps, roaring back. What are you freaks doing to my sister? Roku drops the bomb. We're not just doing something to her. We're bringing back the legend himself, the great wizard. Zero. Cookie freezes. Who? Roku sighs at the ignorance. The progenitor mage. The OG spellcaster. The first to wield mana. The founding father of Mobius. A god among men. But time is cruel. History forgot him. That's why we dove into the forbidden arts. Regression magic. The power to rewind the clock itself. It's the only way to drag Zero's soul back to the living. Mickey swiped that magic. Roku sneers. Who knows who she wasted it on? Doesn't matter. She's still got juice left in the tank. Her body is the perfect vessel. Zero rides again. Cookie's blood runs cold. What happens to Mickey when he wakes up? Roku flashes a sadistic grin. What do you think? She dies. Obviously. We don't keep traitors on the payroll. Cookie trembles, paralyzed by the sheer insanity of it all. He has to drop Roku. Now. Suddenly Mickey twitches. Cookie catches a glimpse of something glowing on her skin. A sigil. On her left hand. A light bulb goes off in Cookie's brain, but he freezes. If he's wrong, it's game over. Screw it. All or nothing. He channels every ounce of mana into his palm. A blade of pure blinding white light erupts from his grip. Roku laughs. Still trying. Cute. You can't hit M. Roku's smug grin vanishes. His eyes go wide with genuine terror. Cookie isn't aiming at Roku. He swings the blade straight at his own reflection in the air. Crash. The air shatters like a broken window. The illusion falls, revealing the real Mickey trapped behind the shards. No. Roku lunges, desperate to intercept, but the falling glass walls him off. He screams, totally losing it. Cookie blitzes through the debris, eyes locked on the target. The blade rips through the mirror dimension and slashes the real Roku across the chest. Blood sprays. Cookie stands tall, face stone cold. Mirror world dismissed. Clutching his wound, Roku wheezes. How? How did you know? Mickey's mark, Cookie explains. It's on her right hand. But in here, it was on her left. And I couldn't copy your skill because you weren't using one. It was a setup, a pre-made trap. You built a bounce house, a pocket dimension where every attack reflects back. You locked me inside a mirror. I just had to find the weak point and smash it. Just like the labyrinth. Roku nods, realizing the play. Cookie targeted Mickey because that was the one spot Roku wouldn't defend. Smart kid, Roku grunts. but you're too late. The air suddenly gets heavy. Static charges the room. Cookie flinches. Cut to outside, the squad feels the ground shake. Back inside, Cookie sprints toward his sister. It's over, Roku laughs maniacally. The apocalypse is knocking. Cookie scoops Mickey up, panic setting in. This is on you, Roku taunts. Your power triggered this. This world is overflowing with mana. It's a beacon for invasion. Blinding light erupts from Mickey's unconscious body. He is rising, Roku screams, eyes wild. Zero is back, baby. The sky turns purple. The squad watches in horror as a vortex engulfs Cookie and Mickey. Cookie Iori screams, her voice cracking. She watches helpless as he clutches his sister. Before a black hole swallows the whole crew. Zap. Scene switch. Total wasteland. Ruins everywhere. A mysterious figure lies in the rubble. A hand reaches out toward Roku's broken body. It's a blonde dude. He groans, stretching. Waking up always sucks. He checks his palm. Something buzzes in the air. His palm mark glows. Another one? Is there someone else like me out here? He smirks. Creation magic. Interesting. A shadow looms over the monsters nearby. The entity glares at the beastly horde. The monsters growl, flexing their claws, ready to tear him apart. You guys happy I'm finally up? He asks casually. The monsters answer with a deafening roar. Pure hatred. Raw instinct. Yet the man stares them down with twisted admiration, claiming time hasn't dulled their edge one bit. They're slaves to their own hunger, guzzling magical energy like it's oxygen. The fallen warrior exhales a shaky breath, relief washing over him for waking up before it was too late. But then the memory of humanity hits him, and his face twists into a mask of agony. Right then, the blonde powerhouse charges up a glowing seal in his palm. He sneers, calling them repulsive, and absolutely deletes them from existence in a split second. Smash cut to a quiet house, the front door creaking open. Cookie's mom is pacing nervously until she sees him standing there with Mickey. The boy flashes a tired smile announcing his return, and that's the breaking point. She stumbles forward, sobbing, and crushes both of them in a desperate bear hug. We dissolve into a flashback. Mickey is pouring her heart out, thanking Cookie for everything. He immediately shuts down the apology, hating that she faced that nightmare, all by herself. He's just thankful because at the end of the day, his big sister is breathing. Mickey gets quiet, admitting she underestimated him. Cookie's expression darkens, the looming apocalypse weighing heavy on his mind, echoing Roku's terrifying prediction. The memory shifts. Roku warns them that resistance is futile because the gears of fate are turning. And with a psycho grin, he drops the bomb. The world is cooked. Roku tells Mickey straight up, this is on her, because her power level is off the charts. Their reality is overflowing with abnormal energy, making it a beacon for invaders. The realization hits Cookie like a truck. He stands there, marinating in guilt, convinced this whole mess is his burden, while Mickey watches him spiral. She confesses she tried to delete her own skill to hide from Roku. But thanks to Cookie's interference, the ability is back online, pulsing on her wrist. He panics about the ancient magic, but she promises it's safe. Skeptical, he asks what it actually does. She tells him it bends time, warps space, and manipulates life itself. She stands up, ready to give him a live demo of her OP new kit. She focuses on a wilting plant in a vase. Suddenly, neon magical gears spin into existence. She's literally hacking the timeline. As she makes contact, she explains the buff applies to anything she touches. Cookie's jaw hits the floor, and she grins, adding that she can use this on monsters too. With zero hesitation, she declares she's finally ready for the front lines. He stares at her, completely blown away by his sister's resolve. Cookie reaches out, gripping her hand firmly. He locks eyes with her, intense and reassuring, reminding her she's never fighting alone again. Tears well up in Mickey's eyes as she asks him to help her protect their world. Hearing her conviction, his own determination skyrockets. He flashes a confident smirk and accepts the mission. Jump cut to a massive glittering hall where Cookie is thanking the crowd. The audience is buzzing, whispering rumors about him soloing multiple numbers. He steps up, introducing himself as the licensed mage. Ikuta Cookie, the guy from the prophecy. With gravity in his voice, he drops the hard truth on everyone. The apocalypse is knocking at the door. He keeps the momentum going, explaining that this gathering isn't a party, it's a war council. As the crowd gasps, Cookie unveils the roster for the new 7 saviors. First up, the graceful powerhouse, Igawa Himika. Next is Kanai Momo clutching a summon. The little beast Kyugi looks ready to throw hands, scowling at the audience. Then there's Suzaki Irori casually snacking while facing the masses with unshakable confidence. Ikuta Miki steps into the spotlight with the squad, followed by the towering tank Sagai Tetsu completing the lineup. The team assembles front and center, with Cookie taking point. He jabs a thumb at his chest and screams that he's going to save this planet. The crowd erupts, screaming his name, putting all their faith in him. But Cookie clenches a fist and cuts the celebration short. This isn't enough. The cheers die down, confusion spreading. As he admits the 7 of them can't win this alone, he roars that without total unity the world is finished. Watching on giant screens outside, random civilians feel small and helpless. But Kuki pierces through the screen, getting real, demanding they stop the pity party. He bellows with everything he has, "Stop looking for a savior and start being one." Kanai Momo glances at Kuki, visibly shook by his leadership. The crowd catches fire, the energy shifting instantly, yelling back that they have skills, they can fight, they matter. Kuki smiles, realizing that, with this army, they might actually survive Armageddon. Suddenly, the vibe shatters. A dark, suffocating pressure slams into the room. A terrifying scream rips through the air, the sky is tearing open, and monsters are raining down. Outside, it's total chaos. The invasion is here, and S-rank nightmares are spawning instantly. Kuki is rattled by the speed of the attack, but Sagai doesn't flinch. He draws his blade, overflowing with aura, vowing to delete every single intruder. A colossal water dragon manifests, roaring its challenge to the enemy horde. Kuki steels himself. It's showtime. He makes it clear the mission hasn't shifted one bit. With the whole squad pulled up, every savior flares their aura, absolutely locked in and ready for war. Surging with raw energy, he goes full beast mode, roaring that he is going to shut them all down permanently.